magazine, not just what was said at that lecture. And in fact, if you spend the time to look at some of the speeches he's given in the past in other jurisdictions, which are all available online, you'll see that this is someone who has used incredibly offensive language that's derogatory and has no place in a modern society in respect of what he said.
Others online questioning what happened to a person's constitutional right to freedom of speech.
But freedom of speech comes with responsibility. And freedom of speech does not mean advocating hate. It does not mean advocating anything other than what should be good and right. If you have a view, you do not express it in a way that expresses hatred and perhaps incites violence. And we shouldn't stand for it here. And the decision, I don't see that it's harsh, but I believe it's a good decision. And I'm satisfied that I had more than sufficient information to make the decision that was made.
Mr. Kamath's resulting re-entry ban comes as a surprise to some Bermudians who were unaware that the island even maintained such a list. In Mr. Kamath's case, it will mean he will not be allowed to land on our shores for a period of 5 years.
At the conclusion of that period,
So as you can see, I don't know if you would call this credentials or not, but I have some reason that you might want to hear some of the things that I have to say to African people. I want to let everybody know, and this is very serious, this idea of being broke revolutionaries has gone way too far. Most of the brothers and sisters who've done this work for us and committed themselves to us from the 1970s till now have died broke. And because they spent their time so considerate of the well-being of our people and not looking for anything in exchange, they end up losing their own well-being. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to be very honest about this. I've done it a long time. I have a family. And I realize, to some degree, some percentage of it is the fault of us by enslaving ourselves, making black people think something comes free. Everybody else pays for the stuff that they want. We got to start making sure that African people understand, if you want something of value, it costs. And so what we're doing here, we're asking everybody out there that's listening, as you listen today, and I'm saying this very boldly, there's nobody else out here that can give you this information that has the courage or capacity to share what I'm going to share with you today. If there was, they would be doing it, because that's how much of a threat this is. And I'm saying I've been doing it and paying for it for too long. I can't even no more because they fired me. But it's time for some reciprocation. So we asking people, the donation amount is $3,000. But the amount of information and the quality of it and the relevance today that I share with you, if I was white, it would be $300,000. I would have no problem getting it. With black folks, I'm saying $3,000 is what I'm going to need to say. Am I going to continue to be the person that's in the front of the line, putting my life on the line when I got children and wife and family, and not getting in return at least enough to say I can live comfortably? Broke revolutionary does not work with me. So I'm asking people on PayPal, you can go to PayPal, if you have PayPal, donate liberation@waronthehorizon.com. We have people listening from the islands, from Africa, from America, all around the world. Judge the information and the quality you get today and ask yourself, is it worth $3,000? Consider the fact that everything you see around here was paid for by myself or somebody else working with me so that people can get this information for free. Also, we ask people to donate. If you go to our website, waronthehorizon.com, there's a donate button on the front page, and there's a donate button on the contact us page. You can donate there as well. You can put your credit card information, whatever the case may be. And the way I'm going to judge after this, is it worth it for me to continue to do this for the liberation of my people? $3,000 is a measly amount to count for what you're going to get today. But you tell me by the time we finish. So you're going to see that slide a number of times while we finish. Now, before we finish, let me jump right into this. We're going into the brief history of homophilia, or what we talk about now. We're going to go very brief. We have lectures that go much more in depth, but this is critical for our understanding. Let me be very clear. From its origin, homosexuality and pedophilia were always the same thing. Let me say it again. The idea was called pederasty, a grown male raping a little boy. There was never the concept of two grown males or two grown women. That was not where the source of this whole behavior comes from. Homosexuality and pedophilia were the same thing for thousands of years. In fact, Plato. How many, raise your hand if you heard the name Plato before? This is the Greek philosopher that they say is the greatest mind ever produced. What he said was pederasty, which is sex between a grown man and a little boy. They had a word for this. then that alone is capable of satisfying a man's highest and noblest aspirations. And the love between man and woman, when spoken of at all, is altogether inferior. It is a purely physical impulse whose sole object is the procreation of life. In other words, the only reason a man wants a woman is because he got to produce a child. But love in ancient Europe and Greece was between a grown male and a little boy. This concept came from there. And we always said we want to rise, and I can show you better than I can tell you. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to step back. I know we have an all-black room. I'm going to invite a few Europeans in just to help us understand the discussion, but they're coming in virtually. Y'all will be all right with that, right? We're going to listen to them because I just want you to hear them talk and hear them tell us about the history of pederasty.
Classical Greece was a society of individualists, where free thinking was ardently encouraged, whether it be in philosophy, religion, or sex.
We tend to think the Greeks as somehow a sexually liberated people. They were not hung up about the same kinds of things that we're hung up about. Their acceptance of sex is a natural part of life. It's something that makes them, at the same time, a very attractive culture, at the same time, a very foreign culture.
The lascivious behavior of the elite Greek male was mirrored in the antics of his gods. The all-powerful Zeus was a philandering husband whose sexual appetites ran the gamut from goddesses to mortal women to young boys. Romantic love between men and women was not the norm in classical Greece. Marriages were largely economic arrangements to ensure bloodlines and inheritances. Plato himself sang the praises of love between men in the Symposium.
The Greeks didn't castigate sexual preference, just as we don't castigate people who prefer soccer to football or basketball to hockey or something like that. No, it wasn't a ground of moral judgment. It just wasn't a category.
Male homosexual relationships often involved an older man with a younger boy, a practice known as pederasty.
Certain subcultures in Greece, particularly the elite subcultures, romanticized the relation between an adult male and a pubescent boy. It was a rite of passage in a sense. There were certain rules of self-restraint which were imposed upon the older male partner in cases like this, and it became a kind of romanticized relationship, a kind of a courtship.
Now, for those who are familiar with the work we do, don't worry, it's not going to be all the same thing over and over. We just want to give people, how many people are the first time you've ever heard me do a lecture or ever heard me speak, any DVDs or anything of that nature? Raise your hand. So you see, there are people here who have not gotten this information before, so we're just giving them a brief background so we can understand this better. Now, we want to move forward into our time because we want to understand how did the situation get like it is today. And I'm going to share some things because once we get to the Pizzagate, you're going to understand why this information was so important to share. For thousands of years, the concept was grown males with young boys. In the mid-1800s, in America, the elite pedophiles, the rich, who were involved in this behavior, wanted to make it normal. They wanted to bring it into society and make it acceptable in America and around the world. The problem they had was people were so resistant to it. So when they start analyzing, well, what is it that bothers people about this idea so much? There were two main things. One of them was gender. People don't like the idea of somebody of the same gender involved in sexuality with one another. Then there was another part, the age difference. They feel like a child is innocent, and to do something like that to a child is to steal the innocence of a child. So they said, okay, if we're going to bring this into acceptance, let's split the concepts and deal with them one at a time. So instead of telling people that we want pederasty, grown males with little boys, we're going to change it. Let's change it to one of them is a gender construct called homosexuality. I want you to hear what I'm saying. The concept of two grown males or two females came about in the mid-1800s. That became one, homosexuality, and then pedophilia. That'll be age. What they said is, first we'll get them acclimated to accepting the same gender, sex, then we'll get them to accept the age difference of molesting children. So, what they did in the mid-1800s, going into the early 1900s, they started taking lesbianism because, of course, two males was more offensive to people than females. So they want to start working society into it. So they would take pictures of females, put them in books for people to look at and circulate them. As movies started to become popular in the late 1800s, they started showing lesbian films with females, introducing the idea with the ultimate goal of bringing it with adults with little boys, grown males with little boys. That was the ultimate goal. Now, for people that want more information to really understand the history of pedophilia, we have a DVD over here called Predators in Our Midst. And that DVD goes deep into the history and documents it from its origin to today. Also, if you want to understand the feminization of the black male and what's going on with our people here today with black men, you can get a feminization of the black male. It details the push of homosexuality into the black world community. Anybody that's interested in buying any of these online, you can get them in two ways. You can get them mailed to your house, or you can go to waronthehorizon.com, go into the store. The two options are the hard copy, mail copy you can get, or within 24 hours you can get an electronic copy. You purchase it electronically, online, as many of them as you want, and then within 24 hours we'll send you an email, you can download them and watch them. This is very important because this is where you get more information about this. And we're going to try to move a little fast because I want people to understand where we're going. This is very critical. We have to reintroduce the idea to properly understand what we're dealing with in the modern context. So I'm introducing you to two new terms. One of them is homophile. A homophile is anyone who participates in, argues the normality of, and or promotes homosexuality or pedophilia as natural and normal. Let me tell you why we have to do this. Prior to our situation in enslavement, you either were normal or you were perverted. We did not have all these different categories so that we can fall into this stuff. We have to get back to being to who we were, and we got to look at it for what it really is. Grown males with little boys. This is the main objective. So instead of trying to call somebody a pedophile or homosexual and figure out what it is, even the person who's okay with the idea, you know, the person says, man, look, I don't care what somebody does in their privacy in their own home, as long as they don't come to me. You just said that what they're doing in the privacy in their home is acceptable. So you too are a homophile. Because you're saying it's okay, not for me. That's like saying, well, construction is fine, but as long as you not ask me to do construction because I'm not good at construction. Nah, it doesn't work that way. If something is bad and it's wrong, you're supposed to identify it that way and want to isolate yourself and your community from that. So, the homophile, again, anyone who participates in, argues the normality of, and or promotes homosexuality or pedophilia as normal or natural. But there's another term, because sometimes you got to be careful. You can't just call everybody a homophile. If you just say that to just anybody, you might say, I don't want to say that because it might, depending on the circumstances, we have another term you can use, which is promosexual, which by definition, they can't really argue about that, but Ruth gave us that term. Anyone who endorses homophilia, again, which is homosexuality and pedophilia, as normal and acceptable. And just remember, many promosexuals don't admit to their involvement in homophilia. I'm not saying I'm involved in nothing like that. I'm just saying, why should I care with somebody? When somebody starts talking about not caring about something, this perverse and dangerous to our community, we don't know what they're involved in, but at least we know they're promosexual. In this way, we don't have to prove what you're involved in. If you promote it, we lump you in the same class as those people who participate in it, all right? So for the rest of this discussion, we're going to use the word homophile, and you'll understand why. By the 21st century, the movement to legalize and normalize grown males with little boys was moving very fast. And so what they decided, and I'm saying this strategy, I'm talking as if I'm the homophile. I wrote it in that way to just say what was going on in their mind. They realized this was the problem. Their sexual abuse of boys, or children, period, resulted in dysfunction among those children. Whether it be delinquency, crime, in many cases, homosexuality. And what would happen if a father sees his son as a homosexual or involved in that kind of behavior, he says what happens to you if he grills him long enough, he'll say, this person did this to me at this age and it messed me up. In which case the father will usually go get his pistol and go looking for the individual. So the problem with this being made acceptable was that as long as we could identify the results of the molestation of children as a problem, you would start looking at how to prevent that, and you could find it. So this is what they realized. Since their dysfunction is a result of our sexual abuse, and we don't want to get caught for what we're doing, they came up with a brilliant strategy. And these are folks that rule the country. We're about to go into them, so I'm going to show you better than I can tell you. They said, look, in order to insulate ourselves from suspicion, punishment, or retribution for our acts of sexual abuse against children, we will manufacture and fund a platform for the victims of our abuse to promote their sexual dysfunction as being normal and innate. In other words, I know that part of your resulting behavior of me sexually abusing you is going to be homosexuality. I'll take millions of dollars and I'll fund a platform for you to go out there and say, this is normal, this is who I am. We'll give you good jobs, we'll put you in nice positions, in management positions, and now, as the victims of our abuse, instead of snitching on us for what we did, you're now the battering ram to force all the rest of society to accept it, because if what you're doing is normal and natural, then there's no reason for anybody to try to figure out what happened to you to make that happen. Is everybody with me? So, millions of dollars were poured in this. In this way, our victims will act as the battering rams to give us greater access to more children more often, with the victims insulating us from being accused of having anything to do with their sexual insanity. I want y'all to hear what I'm saying. Most of the black people out there, or white people, running around promoting that homosexuality is normal, most of them are the victims of sexual abuse, who have been given money and access to power to promote it as normal, to insulate and hide what really drove them to their misbehavior, which was the sexual abusers to begin with. Now, how many people would agree? That's pretty provocative to say. I can't just say that without proving it. Look, I can't just throw that out there, right? So let's go after this. Let's prove it. By 1972, they came out, and the homophiles sat down again. We're talking about elite, rich, white homophiles. And what did they do? Well, I'm not even going to say white. We're just going to say homophiles because, as you'll see, far more of our people are involved in this stuff than we think right now. They came together in Chicago in 1972. Anybody out there listening online, go ahead and plug it in, put it in the gay rights platform in 1972. It popped right up there. You can see it for yourself. And I can't go through everything that's on this platform, but again, it's called the Gay Rights Platform. 200 homophiles got together and drew up a platform for what they wanted to do in society. I'm just going to highlight a couple of them to show you who they're targeting. Federal encouragement and support for sex education courses prepared and taught by gay women and men presenting homosexuality as valid, healthy preference and lifestyle and a viable alternative to heterosexuality. Who do sex education courses target? Say it loud. The children, that's right. Let's go down here. Enactment of legislation so that child custody, adoption, visitation rights, foster parenting, and the like shall not be denied because of sexual orientation or marital status. Right. Now they can go buy them and take them home and do what they want right in the foster care system and the child adoption system. Are you with me? Here's the one that actually shows us definitively that it was homophiles that were there. Repeal of all laws governing the age of sexual consent. So, if it's the gay rights platform and it's not about messing with children, why do you want to make it legal to have sex with a baby? So, the homophiles are behind it again, financing a platform. Remember this year, 1972. Their objective is to normalize the results of their sexual abuse, thus removing them from being caught for any of the stuff that they're doing. Y'all with me? They're putting millions of dollars behind this, and they have power and influence. So what's the next thing now? I want to tell everybody we got a lot of great researchers out there. A lot of the information we're going to do as we go to Pizzagate, I got from other people, so I want to be clear. I didn't do all of this research myself, but I put this together. Nobody's put it together like this. What we need to know is an actual accountable list of who were those 200 homophiles who were at that meeting in Chicago, because that will help us have a better understanding of how we got to the situation and who the drivers are of this. So, that was 1972. The very next year, what was their first move? They went to the DSM, the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual. All right? What is this? This is the Bible for psychology. For anybody who's dealing with mental illness. That's right. And they basically declassified homosexuality as a disease. So in other words, before, if you look in there, somebody was a homosexual, they had a mental disease. So now you want to figure out what happened so you can help them. Now when they remove this as a disease and say that it's normal, Now you're no longer looking to see what happened to them. Everybody with me? So that's 1973. By 1988, we're talking about 15 years later. Now the homophiles are people are accusing, this guy's an actual black guy named Lawrence King, with the Republican Party, who was accused, and there was a lot of evidence to suggest, he even had the children testify, you see those boys tied up there, literally kidnapping children, most of them white, and selling them to the rich politicians around the country for sexual favors. In fact, so much so that they had like a menu, and the homophile would order off the menu. Do they want a little girl, they want a little boy, they want this, with blue eye, whatever, and they would order them. It was going on around the country. And it actually got to court, and a bunch of the children testified. If anybody wants to look this up for yourself, look at the Franklin cover-up that happened in 1990. When you see it, it's going to shock you to imagine this occurred. All of the children that testified were pressured by the government to say that their testimony was false. The ones that refused to do it either ended up dead or in prison. Right. You can do the research for yourself. So, many people will say that this is when it started to become clear to people in society, whoa, the homophiles are busy. Now they actively have a system where they're passing children around the country. Yeah. It hit mainstream the very next year, 1989. This is the Washington Times, front page. Homosexual prostitution inquiry ensnares VIPs with Reagan and Bush. Callboys took midnight tour of the White House. You see, I can't make this. A homosexual prostitution ring is under investigation by federal and district authorities and includes among its clients key officials of the Reagan and Bush administrations, military officers, congressional aides, and U.S. and foreign businessmen with close social ties to Washington's political elite. Documents obtained by Washington Times reveal. And this Rodriguez and Archibald, they did many articles on it. This is the only one that came out. All the rest of them, none of them were published. No other mainstream publication put it out there. But you see that this right here in the Washington Times front page news, it was being investigated, and then it disappeared. All right? So we're talking about 15 years later, now it's coming out, people are saying, whoa, wait a minute. Do we actually have an organized effort to kidnap children, send them around the country, and the richest and most powerful people in the society are the ones doing this? Now, most people don't know this. The very next year, in 1990, under the George Bush Sr. administration, is when the homophiles finally got enough power that they came out into the White House publicly saying, you know, this is at the level of the White House. I'm going to show a very brief clip because I think, again, it's important for me not just to say it, but to show it.
I'm signing into law today a measure to require the Attorney General to collect as much information as we can on crimes motivated by religion, race, ethnicity, or sexual orientation.
People have said to us, you know, weren't you aware this was the first time that, gay and lesbian organizations were invited to the White House? And the response was no. I mean, it was not something we all walked around worrying about. Have we invited any, gay or lesbian groups to the White House these days? This, remember, was a hate crimes bill. And the president's position was it would be hateful and wrong not to invite someone because of their homosexuality.
Now, I want to walk you into this so you see how important it is. So now, the homophiles are in the White House under the guise of being homosexual rights. Remember who we're talking about, though. By the very next year, 3 years later, it went to a new administration, and by now, remember, it was 1972. They had been funding the ground troops on the ground, the victims of the sexual abuse, the homosexuals, to believe that they had a platform to come out nationally. And now, by 1993, they unleashed them into society, and they actually had the 1993 Gay Rights March on Washington, which far too of us know occurred.
Thus began the 1993 March on Washington for lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender equal rights.
We're young, we're queer, we're gonna rule the world. We're young, we're queer, we're gonna rule the world. The church, the state, hormones will decide my fate. The church, the state, hormones will decide my fate.
Hundreds of thousands of gays, lesbians, bisexuals, sadomasochists, and transgenders were attracted by the promise of a wild 3-day sexually indulgent celebration. The purpose of the 1993 March on Washington, which was funded in part by the Presidential Inauguration Committee, was to publicize the wide-ranging platform homosexuals were demanding that Congress enact. There were 7 broad demands, encompassing 55 sub-demands for gays, lesbians, bisexuals, and transgenders. Demand number 1 repeals all sodomy laws and legalizes any and all forms of sexual expression. Age of consent laws would be changed to allow sex with youth.
It's wrong that we have laws in America that criminalize sexual behavior, things like the age of consent law and sodomy repeal, and we're going to see that those laws will fall.
Demand number 3 legalizes marriages between members of the same sex. Legal adoption, custody, and foster care would also be allowed within these new homosexual family structures. Demand number 4 requires full inclusion of lesbians, gays, bisexuals, and transgenders in education, childcare, and school counseling programs. Gay activists have wasted no time in pushing their agenda into schools across America. Under the guise of AIDS education and multiculturalism, homosexuals are promoting their lifestyle to children beginning in preschool and kindergarten. Books such as Heather Has Two Mommies and Daddy's Roommate are currently being used in many private and public schools and libraries without the knowledge of parents. In addition, the playbook for kids about sex is being made available to elementary school children and gives specific instructions on various methods of masturbation. Michael Swift writes in Gay Community News, "We shall sodomize your sons, emblems of your feeble masculinity. We shall seduce them in your schools, in your dormitories, in your gymnasiums, in your locker rooms, in your sports arenas, in your seminaries, in your youth groups." Demand number 7 requires organizations such as the Boy Scouts of America to accept homosexual scoutmasters.
All these groups, the sadomasochists, the pedophiles, the transsexuals, all were back marching in the gay rights parade. The gay agenda is to have sex in any way you please.
We will not be able to live within this country as full human beings until we have the right to love whom we love, when we love, and where we love.
Now remember the term homophile because it's going to be important that we recalibrate our minds. The individuals driving this are homophiles. They want grown males to have sex with little boys. But because it leads to all kind of dysfunction, everybody that's into sexually dysfunctional behavior, they've given them a platform, funded them, and now they can march on Washington with hundreds of thousands of them that have been invited. Now that's 1993. Same year, well, let them tell you for yourself. We talked about the Bush administration, most people don't know that, being the ones who actually invited them in. But by the next administration, it was on an entirely different level.
For the first time in American history, a gay and lesbian inaugural ball was held in honor of the president's election. Throughout the program, Bill Clinton, via videotape, thanked the gay community for its support and financial contribution. In return, the gay community cheered Bill Clinton as the president they put into office.
I just want to thank the gay and lesbian community for your courage and your commitment. I have reason and you're a part of it.
The election of Bill Clinton was the single most significant event in the struggle for lesbian and gay civil rights.
We believe in the new administration and we want to support it. We cannot stay home and let this go on without us.
It's our government now. It's our government now.
What you see behind you is a plan for Mr. Clinton, because all of what you see here, Bill Clinton, through his executive offices, appointments, and administrative departments, can do himself without Congress. Although, of course, Congress has got to come up behind and also push. We have a whole other agenda for the 103rd Legislative Congress.
Clinton is a friend of ours, and he's going to take care of all gay and lesbians' rights. And he's going to shake up the country.
We're watching you, Bill. We're keeping our eyes on you. We're keeping our big, queer eyes on you. And out. And out, too. We like it. He's cute.
Many of those involved in churches, schools, and businesses are concerned about the ramifications should homosexuals be granted minority status.
Now, I know I didn't give the caveat at the beginning, I forgot to do this, but I'm not going to make any friends in here today because I'm gonna step on a lot of toes because my job is to tell the truth. But I do want you to know this. I don't invite people out to insult them or offend them. But I'm gonna show you the truth about everybody, okay? Is that all right with y'all if I just tell the truth? And I'm not gonna tell, I'm gonna show you. All right, I'm gonna name the names today. Let's go further. By the 2000 to 2008 election of George Bush Jr., from 2000 to 2008, now it starts to take a slight different turn. Now what we see, and if we go into our WikiLeaks, this is from WikiLeaks. They hacked into a group called Stratfor. Basically, WikiLeaks, for anybody who doesn't know, it's an online service where basically if somebody gets information from any country around the world about what that country is doing that they don't think that the citizens should not know, then they can go to WikiLeaks and say, let the citizens of the world know that this is going on with the government. So this is a company in the U.S. called Stratfor. And basically this company, Stratfor, provides confidential intelligence services to large corporations such as Dow Chemical, Lockheed Martin, Northrop Grumman, Raytheon, Department of Homeland Security, the Marines, DIA, and other groups, all right? So, according to the WikiLeaks, now I'm going according to the information from the emails that they said, I cannot verify that, but we have not had anybody come out and say these are not emails that were stolen, that they weren't accurate. So we're going to go with what we see. This is in the emails from the Stratfor company. According to that, according to U.S. intelligence sources, George Bush Jr. obstructed justice last December when he had senior advisor Karl Rove and White House counsel Harriet Miers instruct Attorney General Alberto Gonzales to fire 8 U.S. attorneys who were among several others conducting ongoing public corruption and secret national security grand jury investigations connected to an espionage-linked prostitution and pedophile sex ring operating at the Washington Ritz-Carlton and other D.C. hotels, whose clients included U.S. senators and congressmen, elite Washington news reporters, and high government officials, some of whom were named by an intelligence insider. Central to the scandal is fired U.S. Attorney Carol Lam of California, who was reportedly conducting testimony before grand juries linking indicted former Bush CIA executive director Kyle Fogel and convicted Republican lobbyist Jack Abramoff to the sex ring. So in other words, it started with them getting invited to the White House, then they were on the ground getting totally rubber stamped by the Clintons. Now, if anybody in the federal government finds out, wait a minute, some people out here raping children, this is sick, we're going to investigate. Now they're being shut down from the top, according to what these emails show. Is everybody understanding what we're talking about? Yeah. So now it's, not only are we going to push it, but if you say something, we're going to shut you down, even to the point of eight attorney generals being fired out of the federal government. Now, can we believe that there's some pedophilia going on? Well, you know, Dennis Hastert was the Speaker of the House from 97 to 2007 under George Bush, right? Well, Dennis Hastert just in 2016 was convicted of molesting children, and the judge described him as a serial molester. Of course, he only gave him 15 months, but at any rate, right, a serial molester. Who was the Speaker of the House? Do you understand? We're talking about the Speaker of the House. The person that goes out, individual goes out, every time something has to be said from the White House, who's the one speaking to public, is a convicted pedophile, just convicted in 2016, who was the Speaker of the House under George Bush Jr. I cannot prove this, so again, I need some people out there who are researchers to do something. Under the George Bush Jr. administration, this is my sense of what happened. Under the George Bush Sr. and Clinton, the idea was to get the white Anglo-Saxon American 100% on board with publicly pushing homophilia as normal and acceptable. By the time it got to George Bush Jr., now they needed to draw black people all the way in. Because what most of us don't know, I happen to know because I've done the research, just what I do, the strongest community resisting homosexuality and pedophilia around the world is the black community. It is not the Muslim community. It is simply this. Wherever you find black people, I don't care if it's a Muslim, Christian, what society, the black people are the ones that are hardest in resisting this. So they wanted to get us on board. I can't prove this aspect of it, but that faith-based initiative money, remember that FBI, faith-based initiative? I really believe that the faith-based initiative money was used to go to the churches who were the mega churches and to get these homophile preachers to open up the door for acceptance of this stuff. You see who he's with right there, right? Eddie Rome, who died from the molestation of those boys. And so we see, this is a very strange picture to see. Again, I don't have proof, but I want brothers and sisters out there who are the researchers, find out if the institutions in the black community, church community, the ones that got the money were the liberal, pro-homophile churches. I really strongly believe they were. By 2008, it wasn't moving as strong as they wanted it to move to get black people on board. So they said, this is an international agenda for us to open up and legalize adult sex with children. We got to get black people on board. Otherwise, which of course, I'm going a little bit off course here, but I'm going to do it just for a second, just to get it off my chest, which is why I didn't know all the stuff was going on all the way. But they realized that if black people start taking this up as our primary issue, we would have a socio-political issue that the entire world would agree that we were right with. We would become the leaders in something. We would become a relevant race of people again. From the 90s to now, because nobody wants their children sexually abused unless they themselves are homophile. Even some of them creepy weirdos don't want to do it, all of them do it to their own children, they want to do it to somebody else's children. So we had an issue. And because we were resistant, but we weren't organized, the idea, break the culture, pull them into it. And so, who did they bring us?
In 2008, our country elected a leader who not only acknowledged the LGBT community, but who embraced it.
I'm here with you in that fight.
Who counted us as friends.
I held some bilateral talks with your leader, Lady Gaga. She was wearing 16-inch heels.
We elected a man who understood our struggles.
I was shocked and saddened by the deaths of several young people who were bullied and taunted for being gay.
And who has pushed the nation forward towards equality.
It is important for me to go ahead and affirm that I think same-sex couples should be able to get married. I don't think there's been a single moment in which LGBT issues became important to me. I think it's an accumulation of a lifetime of friends and family, people I've gotten to know who have helped me understand how the fight for LGBT rights is consistent with that most important part of America's character, which is to constantly expand opportunity and fairness to everybody. We've seen a profound cultural shift just in the last decade, partly because folks are family now. This isn't a matter of strangers. These are people we love, people we care about. Since I came to Washington, first as a senator and ultimately as president, meeting people like Judy Shepard, and not only hearing the heartbreaking tragedy of Matthew, but also the strength and determination she brought to making sure that never happens to young people anywhere in the country again. All the men and women in uniform who I've had a chance to meet who have served our country with such devotion, having to hide who they are in order to keep in uniform, those stories made me passionate about this issue.
That passion drove him to make more significant advances for LGBT Americans than any other president who came before him.
Gay rights groups are hailing it as a big victory. President Obama ordered any hospital that gets federal funding to give same-sex couples visitation and consultation rights.
President Obama getting ready to grant some benefits to same-sex partners of federal employees.
President Obama will sign a measure making it a federal crime to assault someone because of sexual orientation or gender identity.
No one in America should ever be afraid to walk down the street holding the hands of the person they love.
This is a triumph for not just members of the gay community, but for us as a civilization.
He appointed more openly LGBT people to his administration and confirmed more LGBT federal judges than any previous administration. And he knocked down a long-standing discriminatory policy within the U.S. military.
One of my proudest moments was when we were able to repeal Don't Ask, Don't Tell. It was not an easy process. There were some who doubted whether we'd ever get it done. This is done. That day that we signed it was an emotional day. And to see not just folks who were active in the military, but to see veterans, some of them from the Vietnam War, or the Gulf War. Seeing the tears on their faces and understanding what it meant to them to be acknowledged was one of the most satisfying moments of my presidency.
We are not a nation that says, don't ask, don't tell. We are a nation that says, out of many, we are one.
And with that firm belief, he became the first sitting president to support marriage equality.
Truly historic and potentially watershed moment as President Obama comes out formally, publicly, enthusiastically in support of gay marriage.
No sitting president has ever done what Barack Obama did yesterday.
The President of the United States just said he stands fully with gay and lesbian Americans.
It's part and parcel of my overall belief that all of the LGBT couples that I meet across the country, their families, their children, their commitments to each other are as strong and as precious as anybody else's. Not only to preserve the gains that we've made over the last 3 years, but to make sure that any discrimination is eliminated. You're going to need a strong advocate in the White House. I am that strong advocate. We're going to continue to lean forward in making sure that whether it's the capacity to adopt, hospital visitation, ending travel bans, making sure that benefits to spouses or partners are recognized at the federal level. We're just going to keep on making sure that the rights of same-sex couples are expanded. And it's not just a matter of head, it's a matter of heart. It's who I am. It's what I care about.
That's if you really want more information, we have the Dear Obama, and I took that clip from there, so you don't know who Frank Marshall David is at this time. Of course, he's from Chicago, and he's relevant to the discussion. I just want to say one more thing before I move to the next slide. It's very important to mention. They say that he came out enthusiastically. This is the part they didn't tell us. This is why he came out enthusiastically. I think it was 2012. I think it was May 8th, 2012. North Carolina voted down the same sex in the bathroom stuff and all marriage stuff. Matter of fact, their state constitution was saying basically we're not going to allow it. And what happens around the country when people are against something, once somebody does it successfully in one state, all the other states follow it. 3 days later, on the 11th, they sat him down in front of everything to stop the momentum of what North Carolina had done and block that momentum because, of course, in North Carolina, a lot of the people that were pushing that were black people. So Obama was used as the black bloc to stop the momentum in all of the states of saying we don't want this gay marriage stuff. So that's why he was put in office. Again, it's one thing to say it after the fact. I can honestly say I was telling people in 2008 before he got elected who he was and what he was going to do. If you want to go look for yourself, in 2009 we did a public lecture called Nat Turner Rising. You can go and get it from the website. Go and put it Nat Turner Rising. You can watch it. This is 2009 where I'm staring in a room of people and telling them this guy's gay. This is what he's going to do. He's going to push this on the African world. He's going to launch wars in Africa. Don't support him. And everybody looked at me like I was crazy. Then 4 years later, we did Dear Obama, where we was able to say, okay, here's what we told you we were going to do. Look at what he's done. And he did a lot more stuff. So we got that Dear Obama over here as well, so you can go and verify for yourself. I don't tend to make friends, so I just got to be honest. I'm telling the truth. By 2010, what was happening, and I got to just raise my hand because there's only a few of us that were doing this. There were a few groups around the country that were still aggressively pushing against the homosexuality or the homophilia in America. And so now it was time, they said, like they did in the Civil Rights Movement, the first move is to go into your movement and try to get somebody in there to push the agenda they want to push. And so I'm going to let you listen for yourself and make your own judgment. We remember Eddie Long. We remember the young boys coming out and talking about how he raped them or molested them. And the one boy saying, I remember not being able to take enough showers to wipe the smell of Eddie Long off my body. And in that same time when this was happening and Eddie Long was being accused of this is what Minister Farrakhan had to say.
Examples of that is Bishop Eddie Long. I don't know whether my brother is guilty or innocent. I don't know that. But the thing that bothered me, even if these young men are telling the absolute truth, it's not a case to be brought before a criminal court because they were consenting adults. To 4 victims or false witnesses. You don't know. I don't know. Do you? Oh, no. Sound like he was guilty to me? Huh? See how quick you are to rush to judgment when white folk charge a black man or a woman.
White folk didn't charge him, the black boys did.
The point is, everybody that's a witness is not a true witness. So you have to wait when liars lie or people tell the truth that plays into the hand of the liar. Now you look at Eddie Long's work. Is it a good work? Is it a noble work? That's a bad charge that he was consorting with little boys.
Now, I want people to understand what's happening because now we're seeing a convergence on the black community. You got the black preachers pushing this stuff now in the churches where most of our people are, and the preachers aren't standing the ground. Now, the most revolutionary or strong or independent thinking elements in the black community who want to be black and self-determinant now are being told by the person that they respect to accept it. And he's not defending the homosexuals to adults. He's defending a male who raped who? It's homophilia. Now, here's where it gets deep. It's literally a repeat of the 1960s. First, they come into the black power movement and try to gain control of some of the leaders. Then, when they can't wrestle leadership from all of the strong brothers and sisters, they go out and create their own movement. So I just mentioned this very quickly, Ted Gunderson. This is by 2011, individuals who are out there, like we talked about before, that was getting fired when they was talking about the pedophile rings. This was a former FBI field director. He was going around telling people, hey, pedophilia is going on, there's sex rings, we gotta stop this and shut it down. He ended up dead, mysterious death. So now it's like, we're not gonna let this information get out. And then we get to what I was talking about. Now, they have control of the church. Now, the black masses, the militant forces, through Minister Farrakhan, who listened to that message, now we're getting a counter message to how we feel. Now, just like they did in the 60s, they financed their own entire movement. I want you to understand, from the beginning, it was a homophile movement, a so-called, we call it black lesbian movement. From the beginning, and they were not quiet about it, they just knew that most of our people didn't have access to the information of what was going on. So they create a homophile movement. Now they're in control of our leadership in the homophile movement, and they got the churches. The question is, how do we get any message that differs? Let's listen to Black Lives Matter, or the Black Lesbian Movement.
When we say all Black Lives Matter, we mean black trans folks, we mean black queer folks. There's a significant amount of queerness and transness happening on the front lines, and we are it. Like, we are the ones we've been waiting for. Even though the hashtag was created by 2 black queer women, myself and Alicia, and 1 Nigerian American, Opal Tameti, it was very important from the beginning to say all Black Lives Matter, opening up the frame around Black Lives Matter being more than just the killings of young black boys, but rather a call for all black lives.
We want to take this opportunity to call the names of the black trans women who have been murdered just this year. Lamia Beard, Ty Underwood. Michelle King. Black Lives Matter.
It is our duty to fight for freedom.
It is our duty to fight for freedom.
It is our duty to win.
It is our duty to win.
And I want people to know that story because that's the human story. That's the real story.
We have nothing to lose but our chains.
We have nothing to lose but our chains.
What's important to us in Black Lives Matter is that we are elevating and cultivating the leadership of folks who have not been included in the conversation. That includes Black trans women, that includes Black immigrant women, Black disabled folks, Black incarcerated and formerly incarcerated people. So to us, right, we're really trying to queer our movement.
So, again, a movement that's funded by George Soros, completely a movement, is nothing to do with black people. It's 100% homophile movement, as you can see. They even come out with their own, they're trying to cloak the Black Power movement. They got their own fist, a flag with upside down triangle and a fist. Then the deepest portion of this is now, because again, there's nobody for them to really fight. I gotta be honest, nobody's standing up. I have to say that. I don't want to lie. On the forefront, we are the only ones standing up. Straight Black Pride, want to ride. Now, we got to get more love than that. We're standing up. So we got to get more love than that. I'm not going to lie. Are there people who've been consistent against them? I'm talking about forefront, battleground. It's wrong, we're not going to bend. So what happens now is they merge the militant wing, NOI, with their creative movement, Black Lives Matter. Now, both of them, in conjunction, can invite 1 million black people and everybody around the world to watch. So now they can say, this is your new message. And it's coming from the new movement on the ground, and it's coming from one of the most respected institutions that you've ever produced. And now they're doing it in conjunction. I want you to pay very close attention. When they do this commercial, they actually show two gay dudes, one handing a little black boy off to the other boy. I want you to watch it though, because I didn't create this. This is what they created to promote with their agenda.
All Black Lives Matter. And so what that means is for us, the Black queer and trans community is hugely important. Black women are hugely important. We are a womanist, Black nationalist organization. And so we had some kind of questions about where the Nation of Islam stood on those issues. And we had courageous conversations under the banner of Operational Unity about what it means to queer and trans folks for us to get down with the nation. And those were sometimes difficult conversations to have, but they really got to the core of what it is. For Black people to be free, we have to be united.
May I say to my LGBTQ family, let me tell you something. Those of us who are students of Elijah Muhammad, we're in love with our people. We don't ask you what your sexual preference is. We love you. We're not your judges. We want to work together to free our people completely. So to my family, this is my family. You'll never find me or us condemning you for what has become of us in our sojourn. Because all the holy ones who will point to a gay brother or sister are fornicators, adulterers, freaks, and everything else. So who of us can throw a stone at the next one? None of us.
We're not being recruited to join the Nation of Islam. What we are being recruited to do is to join together and struggle for freedom and justice that liberates all Black people.
Listen to her words very carefully. We're not being recruited to do. Wait a minute. So then, if you're being recruited, are you doing something on your own or is someone else getting you to do it? I don't say I'm not being recruited to come do a lecture. No, if we're going to do it, we're going to do it. They're being recruited. She's being very clear. We're not supposed to join the nation. We're just supposed to work with the nation. Well, the question is, who's recruiting you? And that's what we're going to get to in a minute. So I want to let people know, if you want more information to understand who's controlling the black leadership, a very detailed breakdown. Matter of fact, I hope you don't mind. Is he in the room right now? Is that dude in the room? Somebody let them know we're doing some work here. If you want information on the leadership, the black leadership, you can get secret relationship between black leaders and small hats. If you want information about the race trainer in a modern context, who are the weaponized entertainers? How is racial treason working right now? I'm talking about 2015, 2016. How are the leaders being used to work against us as black people? You can get it right over there, 21st Century Race Trainers Exposed. And again, brothers and sisters, I want to just remind brothers and sisters, please go. I know a lot of people out there, I know your spirits are down now, but I want you to understand, if you think your spirits are down, what do you think I have to do? I have to come out and tell everybody this. Nobody else in the world will do it. Everybody's watching the same stuff I'm watching. Everybody's either afraid. No, that's what everybody's afraid. It's not like I'm the only person in the world that sees this. We're not blind. Of course, they might not put it together like this, but this is what I do. But at the same time, we've seen these pieces. But I have to come to the race and say this. And it's very unfavorable. And I'm telling you, you would not get this from nowhere else. If you were, you'd be getting it. So I'm asking brothers and sisters to continue to contribute. Again, waronthehorizon.com. You can contribute by PayPal. We're trying to do $3,000. That's what tells me, is it worth it for me to share this information? Having NOI chasing me to Canada, England, I'm just like dudes jumping up in the middle of lectures. We had to stop letting them in. I mean, jumping up, screaming at the top of their voices, coming out. I'm like, we ain't like that. So now I got to have conflict with black groups all around it, only because we're telling our people that black men should be with black women. Y'all should support us. I'm going to tell you like this. I'm not going to sit here and lie. Y'all know me. I don't ask for a lot. I'm going to be honest. If somebody else was going to do it, I would gladly step aside and help them do it. I don't know who else you're going to find that's going to do this work like this. So, with that said, I'm going to go into the next part of this. We're going to do a very brief discussion on Zionism, because in order to understand, we said, who's funding it? Who's driving this homophile war? I've been talking in code talk the whole time. The rich homophiles, that's how we talk. Now, I'm going to get real busy now. This is where the money should start flooding in, because if you think that black folk won't tell you what they told you there, white folks won't talk about this. Are y'all hearing me? But I'm about to talk about white Anglo-Saxons, the richest ones in the country. They won't even talk about this. So, to understand, they got the white Anglo-Saxons on board with the gay thing from the 70s to 2000s. From Bush to Obama, now they pulled our people in it. Now we don't know that the black man is supposed to be the black woman anymore. We confused about that conversation. They dragged all of us into it now. Who is it that, again, it's not 100%. If I was to give a percentage, I would say 75 to 80% of the funding and the driving forces and the individuals who are pushing this homophile assault that we're talking about. I would say 75% of my small hats. Small hats were the whites who call themselves Jews, we call them small hats. So that's just our colloquialism form. And I'm showing John Podesta here with Colbert. So first thing I'm going to show you, we're not going to do it long, it's going to be short. We got to go to our break. But I need you to understand just a little bit about who the small hat is and how they think. For my brother that has this right here, it's actually showing up. You got to lean it back down for the brother that has the video up here, so people can see it, because right now it's not leaning in the right way. But we got to understand a little bit about Zionism. So the first thing I'm going to show you is a very short clip. It was done by some Anglo-Saxons who had studied Judaism. It's a book they have that's their Bible called the Babylonian Talmud. This is where their ideas of sexuality come from. I'm going to show you a brief clip of their ideas. The white so-called Jews, we call them small hats. What do they think about having sex with children? Y'all all right? Yep. And it's a video called The Other Israel. So if you want more information on that, you can get that video called The Other Israel. It's online for free.
Three of the major treatises of the Talmud are found extensive passages which give legal endorsement to seduce and marry 3-year-old baby girls. In fact, many of the greatest rabbis of the Talmud, including Simeon ben Yochai, upheld this privilege. Today in Israel, thousands of Jews go to Meron every year to venerate the memory of Simeon ben Yochai, one of the most respected rabbis in the history of Judaism.
In one of dozens of endorsements of child sex, Simeon ben Yochai said, "A proselyte under the age of 3 years and a day is permitted to marry a priest." Agreeing with ben Yochai, the great rabbin said, "When a grown-up man has intercourse with a little girl, it is nothing, for when the girl is less than this, 3 years and a day, it is as if one put the finger into the eye." The footnote to this passage says, "As tears come to the eye again and again, so does virginity come back to the little girl under 3 years." The same section confirms that sexual activity with small boys is in the same category. The intercourse of a small boy is not regarded as a sexual act. The Talmud provides generous loopholes for adultery. It says the penalty for adultery does not include sex with a minor, the wife of a minor, or the wife of a heathen. The Talmud also encourages seduction of unwed adolescent girls called designated bondmaids. But it's important how such rapes are performed. With the designated bondmaid, one is guilty only in the case of natural connection, but not in the case of perverse connection. The Pharisees reasoned that rape in a perverted manner is outside the jurisdiction of the law. Normal rape, however, was punishable.
All right, so we can talk about that for the next 3 hours, okay? But I just want people to get that bug in your mind to know this is the mind of the individuals who are driving the homophile assault. Let's go further. I just want to show you it's not just yesterday, because people say, oh, that was a long time ago. Not many people read the Babylonian Talmud. Okay, this is right now on the news as we're speaking.
It's a topic that not many people want to talk about, but an unlikely whistleblower, a young Orthodox Jewish woman, is now speaking out, claiming a local rabbi is infecting babies, making them sick. And what's worse, she says no one is doing anything to stop him. For centuries, when a Jewish baby boy is born, the ancient ritual of circumcision is performed. But in some ultra-Orthodox communities, religious leaders, known as moyals, also engage in something controversial during the bris. In a practice known as Metzitza B'Peh, or just MBP, the moil actually uses his mouth to suck the blood from the infant's penis after he cuts off the foreskin, meant to prevent infection and serve as a celebration of life.
I hope nobody here thinks, Genie made that up. I hired some white female to do it. This is the mainstream news. But again, if people don't put it together, we can't really understand who and what we're dealing with. So they're so intimately involved in promoting this stuff, I can't do everything. I'll just give you a brief shot at some of the major players through history that pushed the homophile assault. So remember 1972, the gay rights platform. 1974, Edward Koch, Bella Abzug, first federal gay rights bill. All right? Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Right now, she's sitting on the Supreme Court. Well, guess what? In 1977, she helped author the sex bias in the U.S. Code manual. They were saying things that needed to be changed. You see right here, it says it was authored right here by Ruth Bader Ginsburg. The only thing I really want to go in here to show you, because a lot of sick stuff, but this shows, again, another small hat. At that time, if you were 16 years old, if a female was 16 and you knew that she was less than 16, you knew she was 15 or younger, it would be considered statutory rape. What is her suggestion? That it should be changed to the other person. So what they say now is don't even identify that it's normal male with a female, because it used to be, the law said if a man rapes a woman, because that's the only person that you would be thinking that he raped. She said, forget about as a male or woman, but we should change the age. The other person is in fact less than 12 years old. So in other words, it's only illegal as an adult to have sex with somebody if they're 11 years old or younger. From 15. So she's trying to suggest that not only should the age be lowered, But it shouldn't matter what the gender is. Y'all see it, right? I told you these homophiles everywhere. Jonathan David Katz, the Harvey Milk Institute, largest queer studies institute in the world at the time. Arnie Katrowitz co-founded GLAAD, Gay and Lesbian Alliance Against Defamation, in 1985. It's one of the biggest social groups promoting homophilia in the world. Winnie Stachelberg joins, he was the first vice president of the largest LGBT civil rights organization in America, the Human Rights Campaign. The same group in Bermuda that said, because I said a black man should marry a black woman, and I said homosexuality originates in Europe, and because I said black people should spend their money only with other black people, that I committed a human rights violation. Same group. Fred Hochberg, also a former leader in the Human Rights Campaign. That's the Human Rights Campaign is the big political juggernaut for promoting homophilia around the world, along with the ACLU. Larry Kramer and Alan Klein founded ACT UP, another social group, in 1987. Allen Ginsberg, not only was a poet and a social activist, very popular guy, but in 1994 he came out and endorsed and talked about his membership in what? NAMBLA, the North American Man-Boy-Love Association. Now, NAMBLA is the major open pedophile organization in this country. Like, they don't pretend. They like, we think this should be legalized, and they're very much on the forefront, and they're very much behind the scenes helping to control and push the LGBT agenda, where they're trying to add I and A and eventually P for pedophile, changing the language and everything. In fact, remember we talked about the DSM-2 in 1973. But what about 2008? Here we got Dr. James Cantor, who was one of the primary writers of the argument. In 73, they declassified homosexuality as a mental disease. 2008, guess what? He helps to author an argument to say we should declassify pedophilia as a disease. It's just a sexual preference. So how do you know he's a small hat? Because, of course, even the white Anglo-Saxons like, man, you are sick. Why would you help author something like that? You're just a gay Jew. And he proudly comes out on his Twitter and says, hey, SAS have called me doctor, professor, and even sir. But I'm proudest when they just say a Jewish homosexual. Now, again, this is what, if you go on Twitter and find it now, unless it's a fake account of his, this is him boldly said, this is what he's doing. They're literally, this is public information. I'm not telling you anything you can't find yourself. They're trying to legalize pedophilia. Now, why is this critical to understand that they're behind it? Because it's not just politics in the medical field that they control. Henry Ford in the 1920s told us, in the Dearborn Independent, which became a book called International Jew, what did he say? When millions of people crowd through the doors of the movie houses in every habitable corner of the land, it is worth knowing who draws them there. Who acts on their minds while they quiescently wait in the darkened theater, and who really controls the massive bulk of human force and ideas generated and directed by the suggestions of the screen? Who stands at the apex of this mountain of control? The motion picture industry. The motion picture influence of the United States and of the entire world is exclusively under the control, moral and financial, of the Jewish manipulators of the public mind. He told us back in the 1920s, they completely control the minds of people through controlling theater and the media. Well, what does that matter? How does this affect society? If they control Hollywood and the images, then we should expect what in Hollywood?
Corey Feldman has no idea what it's like not to be famous. He was just 3 years old in this McDonald's commercial.
McDonald's gift certificates. I literally was famous before I knew my own name.
His roles defined the 80s. Goonies.
This was my dream, my wish.
Stand By Me.
Call my dad Looney again, and I'll kill you.
License to Drive.
The only difference between you and that greaseball is that he has a license and you don't.
Films that propelled him into the spotlight for his entire youth. But being famous so young, he says, caused serious damage to him and his friends.
Do you feel like you missed out on a normal childhood?
What childhood? I don't know what that means.
A lost childhood and a loss of innocence. He He blames the adults, not just those looking to profit from charming children, but also some with far more sinister motives.
I can tell you that the number one problem in Hollywood was and is and always will be pedophilia. That's the biggest problem for children in this industry.
Now, who controls the industry? That's right, the small hats. And what does the young child say the biggest problem in Hollywood is for children? Now we see the drivers. I'm gonna show, now this guy, please forgive me, he's rather weird. He himself is a small hat. But I'm showing it for two reasons. One, he does an excellent job of showing us who controls the media. Not just Hollywood, but even everything we watch on the television. But also, anybody who wants to learn more about small hats, not just their media control, but the way they operate socially and publicly. He's a little weird, but he has phenomenal information. You can go to YouTube, put in Brother Nathaniel on YouTube. So some things have changed from this, from 2013 when he did this clip. But remember, they don't just control Hollywood, they control everything we see when we watch television.
Americans' confidence in the news is now at an all-time low. For in a June 1st Gallup poll, only 23% said they trust in what the mainstream media has been spitting out. Faith in the news reached its peak in 1993, when viewer confidence was at 46%. It's been sliding downward ever since. What's tendered as news and even cultural norms is proffered in a tightly controlled venue, which George Orwell called the Ministry of Truth, which holds the means to mold the minds of the masses. And this power is in the hands of a few. They're not prostitutes, as Gerald Celente would have us believe. And they're not corporate elitists, as Alex Jones puts it. They're Jews. And I'm going to tell you just who. CBS is owned by Murray Rothstein. He changed his name to Sumner Redstone to pass himself off as a blue-blooded Gentile. NBC is owned by Brian Roberts, who with his sitcom, The New Normal, is corrupting the morals of our youth and annihilating the core of a stable, responsible society, the traditional family.
Hi, everybody. I would like you to meet Brian. He is my life partner, my fiance. In fact, we're getting married, and we're having a baby boy soon. Just two men in love.
ABC is owned by Sidney Bass, with Robert Iger as CEO, successor to Michael Eisner. CNN, along with Time and People magazine, all under the umbrella of Time Warner, is primarily owned by Israeli multimillionaire Aviv Novo, who hired a public relations company to shield him from public exposure. CNN's CEO is Jeff Zucker, former CEO of NBC. Fox News is owned by Rupert Murdoch, born to Jewish mother Elizabeth Green, making him by Talmudic law a Jew. In the print media, Murdoch also owns the Wall Street Journal and the New York Post. Newsweek is owned by Jane Harmon and Barry Diller. Harmon's Newsweek is pushing that Jewish orchestrated red line, over which even more American Gentile soldiers will spill their blood for the Jews in Syria and Iran. The Washington Post is owned by the Meyer-Graham family, with Donald Graham as chairman, Dave Goldberg is CEO, and Barry Diller is senior executive. And the New York Times, America's foremost print media, is owned by the Sulzberger family, with Arthur Sulzberger Jr. as chairman of the board. Even now, the Times is repeating the weapons of mass destruction lie to get us into yet another war for the Jews in Syria. You see, the only news you're going to get is what the Jews deem fit to print. And even what they don't print is also what you get. We had a chance to turn our country around by putting Pat Buchanan and Ron Paul in the White House. But the Jews smeared Buchanan in 1996 and ignored Ron Paul in 2012. We ended up instead with an incompetent Madison Avenue gimmick, Barack Hussein Obama, who's putting us on a slippery slope to cultural, economic, and international ruin. Money and media decides domestic and foreign policy. We know who's got the money. The Jews got the media too.
So, I'm showing you this, it's not me just saying, I'm showing you even whites are having a problem because the ones that don't agree with every aspect of this don't have any way to say it. And they won't even tell you, they know who's doing it, but they're on the fringes of society is the ones that will bring it out. I think the only one I can think of, I don't even want to say his name, but truthfully, David Duke will talk about this. I don't know anybody else to talk about it. As black people, we know we don't like David Duke. But I'm just saying, that's how much of control they have over society. We look here, and there's 6 companies that basically control 90% of what we watch in the media period. And most of those are controlled or owned by small hats. If we look at Washington Post, it was sold to Jeff Bezos, again, another small hat. Even you say, well, what about internet? We got access. Yeah, we do, but they can control what you find because Google, Lawrence Page and Sergey Brin, small hats own Google and control that. So if you put in something to try to find something, they can make a determination how easy it is for you to find it. What about Facebook, Zuckerberg, and YouTube? And I wasn't able to find the exact owner of iHeartMedia Incorporated, but they're the biggest conglomerate that owns radio stations. And as we look at their executive board, let's just say I strongly suspect that there's strong small hat influence in that. Which means if they actually think, if you're watching Hollywood, if you're watching regular TV, if you're listening to the radio, if you're on the internet, they are doing everything they do to have complete control of whatever information anybody around the world gains access to. I'm going to show this and then we're going to go to our break. Again, for anybody that wants to contribute through PayPal, the email is liberation@waronthehorizon.com. Again, that's liberation with the @ waronthehorizon.com. But I just want to make it clear, I'm not talking about these small hats just because they control general society. I just want to show this one clip to show they took complete control of black culture in the 1980s. And I'm going to show you how they did it. You already know. Things that we have become so sick in our mind that we believe in and will fight for as if it's ours. Calling each other N-words, calling our women B's, stuff that we believe is us. We did not finance it. We did not get it to the mainstream. We did not devise the plan for our people to be going around calling each other these words, talking like we talk, and treating each other the way we did. I'm going to show you better than I can tell you who did it and takes full credit for it, because we need to understand they control everybody, but in terms of black community, through the culture, they completely control the black community.
Question, Sergio, and I answer whatever the fuck I feel like answering. So, I loved what was happening there. I loved the rap scene. And I thought that it was a viable scene because I didn't like Bronx rap. I call it the era of gold chains and big dicks, you know? Guys wearing gold chains walking around holding their crotches. So it wasn't musical and it didn't have any kind of humor to it. And no sense of humor to their music. So when I heard what was happening on the West Coast, I liked that. While I liked, you know, the Dream Team and JJ Fad Effect, I liked them a lot. When I heard Straight Outta Compton, I said to myself, wow. So I said, this is what I want to be doing. I want to be in the NWA business. So our relationship was unheard of for a almost middle-aged white Jewish businessman to have a relationship like that with a early 20s ex-drug dealer from Compton. So our relationship developed into not only a teacher-pupil, but a father-son kind of relationship.
Yeah, it must be something great to know you were behind, you know, a very revolutionary change in the music industry, you know, as far as with Ruthless and Eazy-E.
Well, Sergio, I've been involved with the Panthers. I represent Ike and Tina Turner. But of all the things that I've done in my life, I believe that the most important thing, contribution that I've ever made to the music business was NWA and Ruthless Records. Okay, Dre says, I guess Jerry Heller picked the wrong nigga. Yeah. You decide, is Jerry Heller the white devil? Or is Jerry Heller the founding genius of gangster rap?
Yeah, people say, whoa. It's very important that we understand. Sometimes they tell the truth, and we get to see what's happening. So I thought this was very important because, again, this foundation, when we come back, we're going to get into Pizzagate. We're going to take a little break. But this foundation, I don't want people to think that, oh, this thing happened all of a sudden. No, it's not true. This thing, when we talk Pizzagate, is just a window. But what you just saw is them talking, documented proof of the war to bring homophilia, legalize and normalize sex with children. And if you start thinking on your own, the prison industrial complex and all the different things they have in our community that are driving this, you realize somebody is re-engineering who we are as black people to make our community a place that's safe for individuals that want to rape children. This is the world that we live in. And unfortunately, there's a bunch of our people that's participating in it, but now we see who the driving members in society that are doing it. So if you really want more information about Small Hats in an in-depth way, please, we got a 3-part series, Entertainment, Fighting the Poltergeist, that we have over here. You can buy that online at warrenhorizon.com. If you're here, you can get it right there. It's here with you today. You can't get a better 3-part series or information on Small Hats and how they use media to control the world. And also, in terms of information, the secret relationship between black leaders and Small Hats is probably the most in-depth discussion of their political control of black leadership ever done. Brother Body Shots had to leave, but he produced this, and we have that available here as well. So what we want everybody to do, we got our family, because the family stand over there that has the paintings. Please, brother, says they got the best price point in the world. They got all of our paintings, it's $10. You can't beat the price. Get a bunch of them. They came all the way from South Carolina, so dig deep in your pockets. We also have my sister Al Kamar in the back with the jewelry at the right price. We have all of our products over here, the shea butters, different flavors. We got our DVDs and books for children. And then also we got Everlasting Life in the house. So you want to eat healthy, vegan food. I never thought I would say that. I never thought I'd be bragging about vegan food, but I ain't gonna lie. They make delicious food for our people that's also healthy. So we're gonna take 15 minutes, and when we come back, are y'all ready for Pizzagate? It don't sound like y'all ready. Y'all about to go home, but when we come back, y'all ready for Pizzagate? All right. Let's hit the lights, turn them back on, and brothers and sisters, if you're tuning in online, we're gonna play a few videos so that you can continue to tune in. 15 minutes, we'll be right back with you. Thank you.
Real life, how you doing, big brother? Hey, man, how you doing? So especially, women.
They had to make just got to be, we're going to ask you to be quiet as we're doing the lecture because we got to keep going. We only have limited time here. So we're going to start back up in 5 minutes. We're a little bit behind. Smoke image, African clothes. Get your food. I see you getting the food. I ain't got to tell people to get the food. Buy your videos. Sisters, I know people are still getting something to eat, so we're going to do that. We're going to ask everybody, even though you're getting something to eat, just please keep your voices down, or if you're buying, don't stop buying. If you're on the phone, please step out the room if you got to talk on the phone, because we are filming this and we want to make sure we get good audio quality on it, just so people understand. Like I said, we about to start up, but none of what happens here is free. We have to pay for the facility. We got to pay for the security to make sure that you're safe. That's what we pay for. We want to make sure that we don't have no hands in the pockets. Everybody understand what I'm saying? So we have security. These are very serious black men who take their lives in their hands to make sure that you're safe. So that's what we do here. Please do me a favor. Please bring it down, brothers and sisters. I know people are talking, but we got to start back up. I need everybody to bring it down for me. Again, we pay for the security, we pay for the filming, and this is going to be the best quality production that we've done. So we want everybody to know that. That's why we're asking for the support. Again, brothers and sisters, you can go to waronthehorizon.com. You can contribute with the donate button there, or you can go to, if you have PayPal already, you can donate to us, liberation@waronthehorizon.com. We're trying to raise $3,000. That's what it takes for me to say that this is worth doing. Let me just ask a question. I don't mean for my race. That's why I've been doing it. Paying for it my whole life. But how many people think that what you've heard, it's just the intro, was beneficial to your understanding of what we're dealing with as a black people? Let me ask you an honest question, and you can tell me I'm wrong if I'm wrong. Is there anybody that you can say that would lay this thing out with the information that you just got today to understand what we're facing, like what you just saw happen? No. Sir. All right. And have you heard anybody lay out Pizzagate and its relevance to black people yet? Anybody? So we've had months, right? And we haven't heard a black person do it. I'm saying that to say, I really know this. I'm a valuable asset to our people. And a valuable asset, we got to treat valuable assets like they're valuable. So support us, brothers and sisters, because these other leaders, if you want to call them that, they do not care about our future. That's right. I didn't say some of them. I said these other leaders and these other groups. I don't mean the individuals in the groups. The leaders don't care about the future of our race. So I'm about to start up real shortly. Okay, so we live. All right, so let me just go ahead and jump right back into this discussion. Everybody ready? All right. Before we talk about what Pizzagate is, the first thing I want to do is I want to take it back a little bit. How many people in the room remember there was a time when a brother was in the room, and if it was a bunch of people like this, and there was a gay guy, first thing the brother would say, look at all these sisters, be like, man, I don't know what's going through that dude's head. Because, man, you see her, you see her. How many people remember when we used to talk like that? This is what, before we were recruited to be homophiles, meaning before we accepted it as normal behavior. Now, the more standard answer is, well, as long as he mind his business, what does that have to do with me? Why are you concerned about that? And then we start attacking people who don't like bad behavior and feel the threat. What we don't understand is that when we used to say, I don't know what's going on in his mind, or for a sister going, you see all these brothers, I don't know what's going on in her mind, we were actually correct. When we see someone that we classify as a homosexual, we've been convinced through cognitive conditioning that it's a person just like us, except we're attracted to the complementary sex, gender, they're attracted to the same gender. That is not true. Homophilia is a psychology with something on the left end that is the foundation, and on the far end, in the extreme end, is something else that exists. And when individuals are involved in this behavior, this is the psychology that operates that's going through their mind. They're not just somebody that's attracted to the same. It doesn't work that way. There are things that occur that create things that go on in the minds of individuals that have them thinking very differently than us. It is critical that we understand this. And I'm going to say this again. I'm being honest with you. I'm proudest of this, if anything I've done. Because studying this stuff can drive you insane. It will drive you insane. I wouldn't even ask anybody to do it. That's why I try to put it out as concrete and comprehensive as possible so you don't have to go do it. But if you do it, you're going to find a lot worse stuff than I share. But I finally figured out the full psychology of the homophile, which you'll find nowhere else in the world because it's never been done before. I don't have time to go into it deep today because we got to get in and we got a lot more to do before we leave. But if you want the full psychology and a deep breakdown that's comprehensive, we have a DVD called Possessed. It's a 2-part DVD. That's the DVD, you can get that in and you will be able to get that information. But I'm going to just say it so that as we go forward and look at Pizzagate, we can understand the psychology. Remember now, in 2006 is when we figured out the psychology of the homophile. And we put that information out. It is just now that the Pizzagate has come out, we can actually prove it now because we can actually show you as opposed to us saying it and it becoming something that you can agree with or disagree with. This is the basic reality. In order for any of this to exist, the foundation of all of this mental sickness and sexual insanity is what we call misogyny, a hatred for the female. Again, we can't get deep into this right now because we got a lot more to go. But understand, none of this can exist without that. Then once, as the hatred for the female, which is the life-giving individual, or the one that brings life out after those 9 months, you have to do something to express that. That is what we call rape. This is all in the homophile mind. Now, once that happens, aggression and violation become just as important as the hatred for females. So it goes into another place because you have a hatred for the female, but you also love the violation and the aggression. So you want the rape, but you don't want a female involved, is where we get what we call homosexuality. Then, where we get homophilia being at the highest point of their spirituality, of the homophile, is that once the hatred of female has now equaled the desire to violate, and violation is as much, violation and aggression is as much sex to them as sex, that we would think they're equal. What happens is, the greatest sense of satisfaction comes from not only the violation of the gender, but also the violation of the age. So a grown male sexually violating a male is a violation. But then when it's a child, it's an even greater violation. And that's why the centerpiece of homophilia is the grown male with the little male. Because that's the centerpiece. Once it gets past that point, what happens is Past the point of pedophilia, violation takes over. It's more important to violate and hurt something than it is actually participate in sex. So if they see a dog or animal, it's about the idea this is a living thing, I'm going to violate. After that, we have a concept they call sadomasochism. Sadism is the love for giving pain. Masochism is the love for receiving pain. So sadomasochism is loving to give and receive pain. These are foreign concepts to African people under normal circumstances. But we are living manifestation of that today as we take the most violent word in the history of the African world that we know, the N-word, and we use it to each other every time we want to hurt a black person. But at the same time, it refers to us being black, so we're hitting ourselves at the same time, and we love it, we use it over and over. It's actually sadomasochism, which is why I'm so hard against it. People think it's a personal thing. No, I actually understand the psychology that we've been drawn into. Then after that comes what we call cannibalism. Cannibalism is, you remember Jeffrey Dahmer, right? Well, the interesting thing, he hated women. He was a rapist. He used to go to those clubs, give black men mostly pills. They take the pills, and then they fall asleep, and then he would rape them in the back rooms. And then eventually he would start taking the young boys, mostly black and Laotian little boys, to his house and raping them, and then doing all kind of cutting them into pieces and lobotomizing them, and he was a cannibal. What is that about? It is about the homophile personality going to such an extent it is not acceptable just to violate or hurt. Now, one wants to consume the whole entity. They want to take the entity and totally devour it. Past the point of cannibalism, we get to something that we don't really realize how serious this is. When a group of homophiles come together and decide that as a collective group, instead of individually being cannibalistic, they want to go find a victim group that doesn't know anything about them and eat their entire culture. Rape their women, beat and kill the women, rape the men, beat them, kill all their food supplies, steal their language, their culture. Anybody familiar with a story like that? When the group of homophiles come together in a collective cannibalism, we call it racism. We got a word that we call racism. That's what that is. Identifying groups that are not homophile and going in and doing this whole entire psychology to the whole group. And at the end of the psychology of the homophile is genocide. Once you're done playing and messing around, it's murder and kill everything that you see. So what we're dealing with, again, when we see a brother or sister that's involved in homosexuality or lesbianism or a pedophile, we're thinking it's a person with this one sickness. No. It is a person who at the very least on the platform has misogyny in their mind. And they're on a platform for psychological insanity that they may or may not know that they're in. It is not the one thing that they're involved in. This is the psychology of it. And so, if you want to know if your culture or your people are in any stage of a homophile psychology, all you have to do is whatever you can see publicly, you know that you're at least 1 to 2 levels past that. So, when you see misogyny, hit the lights for me, brothers. When you see, whoever the brothers that turn it off the first time, yeah, hit them. Thank you. So, when you see hatred or disrespect for women publicly, that's misogyny. You know that you're in a culture that at least there's rape going on. At least it's a culture where lots of people are being raped. When you can publicly know that rape is happening, when that's something people are talking about, somebody got raped, and it's conscious that people know that it's going on, what that means is you are in a homosexual culture. There are a bunch of homosexuals that are in that culture. Once you see public displays of homosexuality publicly, where you can see them and identify them, what that means is, at that point, when you can see it, you have an epidemic of pedophilia and child molestation going on in your community. People are molesting children every day, all night, in every space that within the context of whatever region that you're in. That's what it means when you see open homosexuality. Pedophilia is so rampant that it would be difficult to even stomp it out.
A few weeks ago, it was just me and my wife. And now I'm a dad.
Vincent's birth mother, she picked us. And I'm going to do everything right by her. Family means everything. Show him what's underneath. Show him your job.
when you see public pedophilia being publicized, what that means at that point, you are in a completely psychopathic environment where everything else you can possibly imagine that was on that psychology we talked about. When you see open pedophilia being publicized like it's cool, that means you're in a psychopathic, genocidal environment. That means that bestiality is going on. That means that, and I'm going to let you hear something that's going to be disturbing, but I want people to understand we're about to go into Pizzagate. When we say pedophilia, we don't understand the kind of mind that targets a child. We need to start understanding.
What's my name? What's my name? My other name. What do you call me? I am your father. From now on, you will call me your father. You're shut. You will call me your father. What is my name, huh? What do you want you to call it? What? Say it. I want to hear it. That's it. Yes, say it again. Say it again. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah. I'm your daddy now. I'm your...
I know that was disturbing, but I want people to understand, when we say people are molesting people, I want you to see the psychology. I want you to understand what we're really talking about. We are in a psychopathic environment, completely. Not a little bit, it's entirely psychopathic. And this is very relevant. I'm not just putting up stuff for no reason. It's very relevant to what we're talking about.
He's an early 30s and you're a late 50.
Yeah.
But somehow you both look the same age there. I mean, you know, there's something to be said for being with a younger man.
I suck baby's blood and put it on my face.
Okay.
Just joking, Hollywood world. No, I think that when you're with...
I played that for a reason. I just want you to understand, because we're about to go somewhere, and because we don't have all the evidence, I just want you to put your mind, once you understand the psychology, things that we would have heard yesterday and be like, that was weird, we can start realizing, no, this is the guy who does Empire. Also the guy that did Precious. Yeah. And Monsters Ball. Psychopaths are in control of the minds of African people. And they tell you what they're about if you know how to listen and see and hear it. We talk about racism. Again, I know you're looking at this picture like, what am I looking at? It's going to be far more relevant once we get a little deeper into this discussion. And genocide. See, we talk about George Zimmerman, who was a what? Zimmerman. Say it loud. George Zimmerman was a what? We talk about him being racist and murdering this young brother. But you know what we never talk about? Did y'all know I actually watched the trial? His own cousin, younger female cousin, came to court when this happened and said, he molested me all my childhood. And said, I think he molested my sister, but she won't come forward and talk about it. Do they ever talk about that? No. Because if that's true, what his own cousin said, that would make him a serial pedophile. Which now, when we start understanding the psychology, we see the link between this sick psychopathic behavior and the murder of black people. It is a psychopathic personality that we can now see, hear, and understand. Again, if you want more information on it, go over here and get the DVD Possessed. I promise you, you will get a very good understanding of this psychology. Let's move into this Pizzagate discussion. Are y'all ready? All right, what happened with Pizzagate? So I'm just going to show you, and let me just put this disclaimer. All of the information I put out there, I haven't heard any of it disputed. So there's a lot more information about Pizzagate that I'm not going to put on here because people are trying to dispute it. Now, can I absolutely guarantee that these are people's real Instagram pages? I can't do any of that. What I can tell you is this. There's been no disputing people saying that that's not true information. So I'm sharing with you not the worst of the stuff, but the stuff that no one that I've found has disputed, okay? Let's talk about it. 2016, what happened? First of all, let's go back to 2011. There's an individual named Andrew Breitbart. He was a conservative columnist. According to the internet, these were his tweets, not mine, that he put on this Instagram Instagram or just Twitter? That's Twitter, right? These are tweets. Andrew Breitbart, February 2nd, 2011. Early on, did John Podesta imagine his baby at MMFA, Media Matters for America, would be covering up for underage sex slave operations and hate crimes against blacks? I didn't write this. This is Breitbart, 2011. 2 days later, February 4th, how progressive guru John Podesta isn't a household name as a world-class underage sex operative, cover-upper defending unspeakable dregs escapes me. So John Podesta now, why he's relevant, the campaign manager for Hillary Clinton when they were just running this campaign against Donald Trump. And the last one, 2012, how much longer until they kill me? A heart attack or a car accident, or frame me for a crime. Read me while you can. 2 days later, March 1st, he was dead. So, according to him, according to these tweets, and there he is, he's saying that this guy who's the campaign manager for Hillary Clinton is involved in covering up hate crimes for black people and underage sex slave operations. And he's working with Media Matters for America to cover it up. Now, 2016, a hack was done into the email account of John Podesta. And they gave these emails to the individual we talked about before, Julian Assange, that has WikiLeaks, that puts out stuff publicly. So they put all of these emails from John Podesta in the public domain 2 weeks before the election. At the same time that came out, a key code for how pedophiles cover up their words with different language, use code words for pedophilia and rape of children. That came out as well. We cannot verify who put that out because they didn't put their name on it. But these emails, we have not heard anybody say that these emails did not come from John Podesta. They were the hacked emails. Now, who was Podesta? Chief of Staff for Bill Clinton, advisor to Barack Obama, and campaign manager for Hillary Clinton. Now, I'm going to show you the one individual who had the courage to do a mainstream report on Pizzagate just to let them tell you the basic and foundation is for it. Then I'm going to show you some things a little past what he's able to show on basic TV, all right? His name is Ben Swan. And after this, he's put nothing else about this out. They even shut down his stuff on the internet, all of his social media sites.
Pizzagate actually comes from the WikiLeaks release of hacked emails from Clinton campaign chairman John Podesta. In all, WikiLeaks dumped around 50,000 email messages, and it was from those emails that the claims that John Podesta may be part of a child sex trafficking ring come from. And to be clear, not one single email in the Podesta emails discusses child sex trafficking or pedophilia. That is a fact. But there are dozens of what seem to be strangely worded emails dealing with pizza and handkerchiefs. Self-described online investigators say that those words in the emails about pizza and the talk of handkerchiefs is code language used by pedophiles. So how did a DC pizza parlor get pulled into the story? Well, again, read any mainstream report, they indicate that Comet Ping Pong Pizza was somehow linked to this fake story and has no relation to anyone involved. But the truth is, that's not true either. What media is ignoring is that the Comet Ping Pong Pizza place is actually referenced in the Podesta emails at least a dozen or so times. And that the owner of that place, James Alfantis, is a friend of John Podesta. He was actually named, this is kind of strange, by GQ magazine as one of the top 50 most powerful people in Washington. Yes, we're talking about a pizza parlor owner. Now let's talk facts here. There is no solid evidence that Comet Ping Pong Pizza is being used to run a child sex trafficking ring. But there are some very strange connections between Comet Ping Pong Pizza and a second pizza place 2 doors over, Besta Pizza, and the accusations of pedophilia. Now this is where things start to get strange when you research the story. Now to begin, I need to show you a 2007 unclassified FBI document. That document, according to the FBI, contains commonly used symbols by pedophiles to express their preference in children. I want you to see these images here. These are the images. Notice this one on the end, the triangle. That image signifies something called boy love.
I'm sorry.
Pizzagate at America. Well, since Pizzagate began, artists perform regularly. Two of the groups that perform there, the same image of which their preference in children. Strange when you research this story. Now to begin, I need to show you a 2007 unclassified FBI document. That document, according to the FBI, contains commonly used symbols by pedophiles to express their preference in children. I want you to see these images here. These are the images. Notice this one on the end, the triangle. That image signifies something called boy love. The pizza place next door to Comet Ping Pong Pizza, Vesta Pizza, well, this was their logo until only a few weeks ago. Clearly you can see that the Vesta logo actually contains the same image, I'm going to show you again, as that boy lover image. Interestingly, after Pizzagate investigators pointed this out, Vesta Pizza changed their logo, and there it is now. They removed the triangle. Also, Comet Ping Pong, owned by Alphantis, is the place where a number of performance artists perform regularly. Two of the groups that perform there, who you can see advertised, by the way, on this Comet Ping Pong poster, include a group called Heavy Breathing and another group called Sex Stains. Well, if you check out the YouTube videos by these bands, Heavy Breathing has songs that do joke about pedophilia, and the band Sex Stains has a video that includes, and you see it right there, that same boy lover symbol. It's nearly identical to the one that the FBI does say is a pedophile code symbol for boy love. As I said, there are some strange things there. As for the owner of the pizza place, James Soufeese, well, he was one time in a relationship with David Brock, who ran Media Matters for America. Well, since Pizzagate began to blow up online, he has made his Instagram profile, Jimmy Comet, private. But an archived search of Instagram reveals a number of strange photographs and words with strange and disturbing images associated with them. Look, to the point where we can't show you those pictures. We're not even going to describe them to you because some viewers would find it too disturbing to share on TV. Now let's talk about the Podesta brothers, because remember, it was John Podesta's email that was hacked. In those leaked Podesta emails, John Podesta talks about his close relationship with Dennis Hastert, a former Speaker of the House, who was recently sentenced to 15 months in prison for abusing boys years ago. He was referred to by the judge as a serial child molester. According to the Washington Post, visitors to Tony Podesta's home in Falls Church got an eyeful when they walked into a bedroom at the Podesta residence hung with multiple color pictures by Katie Grannon, a photographer known for documentary-style pictures of naked teenagers in their parents' suburban homes. And to be clear, that just begins to scratch the surface of how strange some of this stuff is. And bear in mind, we can't get into a lot of the real details of it because of the limits on broadcasting this on television. But it is some very strange stuff. Now keep in mind, again, there is no proof here that there is a child sex ring being operated out of a DC pizza parlor. Investigators have already proven there's nothing to the story, right? Well, actually, no. And that's what you need to know. For all that is here, there has not been one single public investigation of any of this. Not from local police, not from the FBI, no one. And that has to be the big question. Not for Podesta or for pizza parlor owners, but for law enforcement. Based on what may be or may not be here, the big question is, why hasn't any investigation taken place? That's Reality Check.
Alright, so everybody, we understand what we just saw, right? Alright. Now, we're just going to look at a few of the emails to start off with, because I want you to, what we're going to do, we're not trying to prove what did or didn't happen. All we're doing is proving or retracing the steps of why people thought this was weird. So, when we finish, we're not trying to say, do we absolutely have evidence of what happened? What we're trying to say is this a problem? And should something be investigated as it relates to what's going on? And anybody who says that this is a problem, are they crazy conspiracy theorists, all right? So here are the reported emails from John Podesta. This is from John Podesta. This is from James Alifontis, owner of Comet Ping Pong, which is right up on Connecticut Avenue, okay? This is when Obama was running for president in 2008. Hello, some young lawyer-type friends of mine are hosting an Obama fundraiser at Ping Pong. He said about 150 of them, we're going to raise between $25,000 and $35,000. So he asked him would he come to be there. He said yes. John Podesta said I would be there. Then we see in 2015, that was 2008. 7 years later, we see Hillary running for America. And again, we see Tony and John Podesta, and they're talking here, because all I'm trying to do is establish with this email is that for 7 years, it's clear they had a friendship. Because Tony Podesta is John Podesta's brother, reportedly. Now, he's his real brother, but you gotta reportedly everything, right? So, this is Tony Podesta. He's sending out this email. I wanted to flag a dinner I'm doing at my house tomorrow for Hillary Clinton. This is when Hillary Clinton's running for president. 2015. Doing a fundraiser at my house with my brother John Podesta on October 6th at my house. John and I are cooking along with guest chefs James Alifontis of Comet Ping Pong and Pizza and Buck's Camping and Fishing. So, is it clear that James Alifontis, for those 7 years, obviously they have some type of relationship because he's going to be at the house cooking? Will we agree with that? All right. Well then, I'm going to just show you the code that came out at the same time these emails came out. I suspect one of the insiders in the FBI, some of these people that are trying to shut this stuff down, they realized people would not be able to break this stuff down if they didn't have a code. So they had to give it out there. But there's no proof who put this out here, so I cannot guarantee you that it's right. But in order for us to decipher these emails, we gotta have something, so we're gonna use it, okay? So, hot dog is boy, pizza is girl, cheese is little girl, pasta is little boy, ice cream is male prostitute, walnut, person of color, black person, map, semen, and sauce, orgy. So, remember before he said, I can't show you the pictures on James Alifontis' Instagram because they're too disturbing. So shouldn't we go to the pictures that have been reported to be on Instagram? Because this is what people did. They said, well, why is he talking about this ping pong stuff? Who is this person? Oh, it's Comet Ping Pong. And they just started looking on Instagram for the owner of Comet Ping Pong, and let me show you what they saw. First of all, I got to make this point because he mentioned it. Remember, now, this is a Comet Ping Pong owner of a pizzeria, but remember what Breitbart said. Early on, did John Podesta imagine his baby at MMFA, Media Matters for America? David Brock started Media Matters for America. Would John Podesta imagine that he'd be covering up for underage slave operations and hate crimes against black people? Guess who just happens to be the ex-boyfriend of David Brock? James Alifontis, that owns Comet Ping Pong. Alright? So we're going to look at his Instagram page. He calls himself Jimmy Comet. So this is one of the pictures that reportedly is on this page. German baby, $1,200. Please do not touch. So it's kind of, somebody's making a joke about selling a baby. Okay. Here's another picture. Baby, money in the mouth, kind of like the baby for sale, kind of innuendo. That's what I get from it. Here's another picture. And somebody says, this is pretty creepy, bro, with a little female strapped to the table. And somebody says, new seating area, procedure for youngest guests, hilarious. So, this is like stuff. Now, remember this, because we'll come back to it later. But this is one, again, Jimmy Comet, James Alifontis. He comes down here, and at the bottom he says, whip up a Haitian special, extra cheese. We remember cheese. The code says little girls. But we're just looking at stuff now. I'm just showing you people are investigating on what's going on here. Picture's kind of creepy, right? Let's move on. Now, being somebody who studied pedophilia and homophilia for years, I happen to know this. Pedophiles call themselves chicken hawks. And they call the children that they hunt chicken. Because, chicken hawks hunt chickens. So when they go after little children, they call them chicken. Well, this is Alifontis, and he's got this picture of this white guy with a love bracelet around his little child, and it says chicken lovers. # chicken lovers. Now, I can't say that that's what he meant, but I can say chicken is referred to by grown male adult pedophiles and little boys. I do know that for a fact. Here's another one with pictures of these individuals with children. This is Alifontis. And just pay attention to this because it's going to come back again. That little baby loved the farm. So remember that. Remember the farm. So you just see a little picture there. That's another picture he puts out. I think that picture kind of speaks for itself. And we talked about the homophile psychology. That's why I said you got to understand the psychology. Again, what it means, I don't know, but it's there. Here's another one that kind of creeps people out. It says, it has a child reaching for a sword. Child keeps asking for the sword incessantly, over and over. Can I have the sword? Can I have the sword? God damn it, just get a child a bloody sword and then we can all have some peace. Now, it can be read a couple of ways. It could be saying a child wants a sword and you're going to let him have a sword, or it could be basically saying you're a person that goes around killing children and in your mind, the child's asking to be killed and you want to kill. I don't know what it means. I know people found it to be pretty creepy. Here's another picture. Some kind of wise alley shut look thing with some youth there. Again, this is Instagram page. All right, now it starts to get even more creepy to some people because you got guys right here and somebody saying burying a body. And this is somebody named working on my night cheese. And cheese is what? Girls, right. So, you know, you're looking at it like, this is kind of weird. Then it starts getting more bizarre. Here you have this big room. And he puts it up here. He says, oh yeah, this looks fun. It's a big empty kind of room with like stains on the bottom or whatever. Somebody says, but it's huge. Then that same working on my night cheese guy comes in and says, hashtag kill room. So then he comes back, Ali Fontes, reportedly, hashtag murder. So of course some people were asking the question, is this a room where they murder children or something? And at the bottom, someone says, where the werewolves lock themselves up during the full moon. So, I mean, you know, the stuff is weird. Now, the paintings on the wall, reportedly, in Comet Ping Pong. Here's a painting. You see these individual kind of look like spirits, and they're holding severed heads in their hands. And this is the same place you see the severed heads. And remember, people don't know this. Comet, it's called Comet Pizza and Ping Pong because it's advertised as a child-friendly place. They have overnights with children there and everything. So this is a place where you have children. And you got severed heads on the wall, and they advertise they want children there. Here you have another picture with an adult, a child alien, someone came and put on the wall, shut up and F-U-C-K, amen. And this guy here is masturbating here. This is the stuff that's up on the wall in the child-friendly pizza restaurant. So people start saying, yo, this is creepy. So then, I'm just going to show some of these images because they're sick. But this is on Comet Ping Pong's Instagram page. Pictures that are up on there. 3 guys, one on the bottom, the pizza's coming up. These 2 on either side. Then there's a female there holding a pizza. So people are looking and saying, wait a minute, this is a child-friendly pizza place. Yeah, you got all of this sexual stuff that's really creepy and children with dollar bills and sale signs on them. And I'm not showing you everything. They got all of this stuff. So people are saying this is really bizarre. Even pictures on the Instagram page with adults there, and in the middle, a pizza covering the child. So that's what people are saying. Maybe this code is correct because it looked like the pizza represents a child there. This one is very interesting. This is some guy named Mr. Summer Camp that says, hello, it's me. Hashtag drag DC, hashtag DC gays. Covered in blood with high-heel pumps and jewelry and blood leaking on the floor and ping pong tables behind him. And when Mr. Ali Fontes sees this, reportedly he comes in and types the word sex. So apparently when he sees this, he thinks sex. So people are saying this is not appropriate. Now I'm going to show you a short video of the kind of entertainment that's happening on Connecticut Avenue at the friendly, child-friendly pizza place that John Podesta, who's the campaign manager for Hillary Clinton, goes and does speeches to help, you know, raise money and all this kind of stuff.
It is the day of the birth of our Lord. Social. If you are like me, you love social. Or if you don't, you want perks from her. Things like free pizza. Have any of you enjoyed this special pizza here tonight called Honey? Cherry is known to hang out down here. He likes world sounds. Do you know this?
And little boys. And children. No.
We all have preferences.
Alright, just to get a sense in the room, just honestly, by now, who's creeped out already? If you're just kind of creeped out. I feel really bad for you because we ain't even started. Alright, so people see this and they're uncomfortable, especially when they see, wait a minute, this same guy with all this stuff is taking pictures of himself on one of his many visits to the White House, hanging out with the President of the United States, who's there playing ping pong. So they like, yo, hold up, man. How does this guy have access with all this weird stuff to the White House? So far I just want to do this because we got to keep abreast of what's happening. How, remember Andrew Breitbart said, how progressive guru John Podesta isn't a household name as a world-class underage sex slave operative, cover-upper, defending unspeakable dregs. So we see John Podesta, of course he's connected with his brother Tony Podesta, but we also see that Breitbart said early on that John Podesta imagined his baby at Media Matters for America, which is David Brock, who just so happens to be an ex-boyfriend of James Alifantis, will be covering up for underage slave operative. This is Breitbart. So we see the connection because through Brock, he mentioned this is his ex-boyfriend, and he mentioned John Podesta, who's good friends with who? James Alifantis. And now we see the stuff that's going on with James Alifantis' Instagram. So people are saying, yo, this is weird. We need to check this pizza place out because it seems like there's way more going there than pizza and ping pong. So let's go further. Again, John Podesta, chief of staff for Bill Clinton, advisor to Barack Obama, and campaign manager for Hillary Clinton. Now, we're going to just look at a few emails, way more than this, but just to see some of this weird coding stuff that's being seen. In this email, hi, this is Susan. She's writing John Podesta. The realtor found a handkerchief. I think it had a map that seems pizza related. Is it yours?
Oh my God.
Now, does a map that seems pizza related relate to a handkerchief? Or we just talking regular talk? So is it fair to just say, let's try to see if our code would help us understand this and put it up there? Let's put our code up here. I found a handkerchief. I think it has a map, some semen, that seems pizza related, little girl related. So people speculate, are they doing stuff with children? And they're talking in code talk? Now there's hundreds of these stuff, or at least 10s to 20s or 30s. We can't do all of them, just a few. This is another one. And this again is from Herbert Sandler. And he's writing John Podesta and his wife, Mary Podesta. I think you should give notice when changing strategies which have been long in place. I immediately realized something was different by the shape of the box, and I contemplated who would be sending me something in this square-shaped box. Lo and behold, instead of pasta and wonderful sauces, it was a lovely, tempting assortment of cheeses. Yummy. Then at the bottom, do you think I'll do better playing dominoes on cheese than on pasta? So it sounds kind of weird. If we use this code, it would sound different. Lo and behold, instead of pasta, boys, little boys, and wonderful sauces, an orgy. So instead of bringing me a bunch of boys for us to have sex with, it was a lovely, tempting assortment of cheeses, little girls. Yummy. And now we talked about sadomasochism before. They call it dominatrix. Do you think I'll do better playing dominatrix, the beach, and sadomasochism on cheese on little girls than on little boys? So people reading that saying, so are they saying here, you know that I like boys, you brought me some girls, but at least tell me next time. So again, very bizarre. Here's another. An individual named Luzado sends this. She says, we had a Luzado yesterday with Marisa, Paul, 10-month-old, Evie staying with us already while their houses get painted. And Ben Alex slanting in 3 over here to help us decorate the tree. When the parents got back to retrieve the children, they threw in a towel and about 19 pieces of clothing to stay for Tenellini and an overnight. So we had 6 grown-ups with 2 toddlers and 2 infants spread throughout the house, and sure enough, one of those toddlers was rubbing my nose at 5:45. So you can't convict anybody. That sounds really weird, this stuff that's going on. So people are looking and say this doesn't. Now if you put in Tammy Lozado, this is who pops up. One saying that we had all these children. So we go to another email from Tamara Lozado. With enormous gratitude to Advanced Man Extraordinaire Haber, I am popping up again to share our excitement about the reprise of our gang's visit to the farm in Lovettsville. Remember we said farm? Yes. And I thought I'd share a couple of notes. We plan to heat the pool, so a swimmer's pot is a possibility. Bonnie will be Uber servicing to transport Ruby, Emerson, and Mave Lozado, 11, 9, and almost 7 years old. So you will have some further entertainment. And they will be in that pool for sure. Now again, people like, yo, who's on this email? Well, let's see. Levin, Savage, Klein, Beth Donovan, Rosensteel. Here's Mary Podesta, John Podesta, Leibowitz, Rubiner. So these are all adults that are getting on the email talking about we're going to have some children in the pool. People think this looks weird. Then Drew Littman writes back and responds, thanks for remembering me, as I was planning to use the farm as the backdrop to announce my candidacy for Speaker of the House. So we're not talking everyday people. We're talking very high visibility. If Hillary Clinton wins the nomination, this is her right hand, John Podesta. Let's go further. So people start saying, this is pretty bizarre. Maybe we should look into all the people surrounding the Hillary Clinton campaign. So who did they look? Well, they look at this guy, Anthony Weiner, who reportedly right now is under investigation for sexting a 15-year-old, which basically could do a lot of time for doing that. Basically, talking about rape fantasies and all this stuff with a 15-year-old female. That's illegal. And this is not his first sexual scandal. Well, why is he relevant? He's a former congressman from New York City. Well, he's married to who? Huma Abedin. Hell, we got a sister that knows what she's talking about. Who might Huma Abedin be? Well, if John Podesta's on the right hand, who's on the left side? Vice chair of Hillary Clinton campaign in her 2016 presidential campaign. Deputy chief of staff and the traveling chief of staff for Hillary Clinton when she was Secretary of State. John Podesta's her right hand, her left hand is Huma Abedin, who happened to have been married to a guy that's under investigation for sex crimes with children. So now people start saying, whoa, whoa, whoa. It's one thing if one of your buddies is doing some weird stuff, but can everybody surrounding you be involved in this stuff and you ain't involved in it? So they start looking deeper and more to emails. Here's an email from Huma Abedin to Hillary Clinton. And she basically saying that she's going to be late. So Hillary Clinton say, also, I was not expecting Marina to be here. Is she still going with you? So they know somebody named Marina. And Huma in her excitement, yes she is. We just wanted to make sure you were set this morning. She's jumping on the shuttle as soon as you leave. I'm leaving for blah, blah, blah. So this person named Marina, and this is back in 2010, seems to be a good friend of Hillary Clinton and Huma Abedin. And by 2015, here's Marina Abramovic. That's the same Marina we suspect. She's writing Tony Podesta, John Podesta's brother, the brother of the campaign manager for the person that's running for president of the United States. I am so looking forward to the spirit cooking dinner at my place. Do you think you will be able to let me know if your brother, John Podesta, is joining? So Tony Podesta, according to the email, sends an email to John Podesta. Hey man, is you in New York City on Thursday? Marina Abramovic wants you to come to dinner. Is Mary going to be able to be there too? Mary? Now, so don't you think if we're looking at that, we should at least get an idea of what a spirit cooking dinner is? So look, I normally don't tell people to brace, but because of time, I'm going to skip one of the videos. Y'all all right with that, right? I'll put it back into the video. I'm going to get right to the spirit cooking. And this is not, and she says in this next video, but I'm going to skip that. This is not the actual spirit cooking private dinners. This is your spirit cooking publicly. So if you're spirit cooking publicly, you're going to see what I'm showing you. But if you're doing it privately, according to her, you don't use fake instruments, okay? So I'm going to just show you this. Go ahead and brace. If you have very young children, you might want to cover their eyes for this one. I'm going to skip that. want you to understand, we're talking about the potential president of the United States and her cabinet being friends with somebody that invites them to these kind of parties, but to the private ones. Does everybody in the room at this point understand why people are uncomfortable with this? Is there anybody in the room that's like, I see that, but I'm not uncomfortable with this? And individuals running this country being involved with this kind of stuff. Okay, that's a good sign. For the record, we don't have any hands, and I'm just showing you some of the pictures. You see they got heads on the table. Remember common ping pong with the severed heads in the places? These are her pictures of herself. Pentagrams on the tummy with goat heads, and her with children. These are her own pictures she's taking and putting out there. I mean, would anybody feel comfortable with your child, with this female? She has something called spirit cooking, where here's one of the ceremonies of spirit cooking, where they take little child images and put it in a corner and cover it in blood and write spirit cooking up on the table. Here's her sitting on a ledge. Spirit cooking, you got 666 right there. You got stars, pentagrams, Star of Davids. The blood, the floor is covered in blood. They actually have videos for this. I just didn't want to gross y'all out too much. It's actually a video. I'm just showing y'all pictures. Then she has recipes for spirit cooking. Mix fresh breast milk with fresh sperm milk. Drink on earthquake nights. Yeah, then they have spirit cooking with a sharp knife cut deeply into the middle finger and of the left hand and eat the pain. Take uncut 13 leaves of green cabbage with 13,000 grams of pure jealousy, steamed for a long time in a deep iron pot till all water evaporates. Eat it just before attack. I don't know who they're attacking, but they do have a little baby in the corner with blood all over and everything like that, so this is kind of bizarre. Again, these are not pictures somebody took. These are her own photography taking pictures of goat's blood and all kind of demonic devil bone stuff or another. I don't know, man. You see it, you write it for yourself. I mean, this is the folks that are hobnobbing with parties with the top people in the federal government about to be president of the United States, which is why part of the reason she lost the election. Even white folks are like, nah, buddy. You know, I mean, we brother, but we ain't that much brother. You know, white folks are like, nah, this is creepy. So, it's not just politicians, though. Here are some of the most popular individuals in society that are affecting the minds of our children, that are running around with Marina Abramovic in pools of blood with, I don't know what it is, and doing taster's choices with naked black dudes in white chalk, like Orisha kind of something another, but not Orisha, because they gawking in the back like something out of Get Out or something. I don't know how to describe it. I just look at it and be like, I'm not going to be the only one running around going, this is sick. I'm going to show y'all, make y'all do the same thing I have to do. Figure out what this is, you know what I'm saying? That's why we understand the psychology of the homophile. They're your Kardashians, who they buddy with. The spirit cooker. Uh-oh. What? See, can I say that he was at a spirit cooking dinner? Not exactly. What we can say, whoever knows her that's introducing you to them, it's no excuse for me you hanging out with them, because it's not just him, you know. Hey, brother Tan, stand for me, because the Beehive about to come after me, brother. I know the Beehive about to come. I can't do this good of photography, what they call it, photoshopping. Who's that at the table? Marina Abramovic. Who's that? They can't hear you out there. Who is that? Getting our people to fall in love with folks that are involved in some of the sickest madness you can possibly imagine. Who's that? Who's that? Who's that? But if we listen closely, we'll understand. People tell us what's going on all the time. But if we don't know the homophile psychology, if we don't have any familiarity with this stuff, we have no idea what they're talking about. But if we listen now, we might understand a little bit different.
with sticks like homie. You don't know me, but the whole world hold me strict. Was thought to be a pleasant guy all my fucking life. So now I'm down for whatever. Ain't nothing nice. Throughout my junior high years, it was all friendly. But now this higher learning got the rennie in me. Let go, invaded my kidneys. Got me ready to let go. Mama, forgive me. I can't be held accountable. The evil's beating me down. Got me running with guys, making G's, telling lies that sound true. Come test me. I never cower. For the love of money, son, I'm giving lead showers. Stop screaming. You know the demon said it's best to die. And even if Jehovah Witness, bet he'll never testify. The evil still God, I want to kick you safely. I kicked up.
Our people are given lots of money to get drawn into some of the sickest, most perverse stuff and to feed it back to us. And we don't know why our children out shooting each other, why they out with mumble music, talking about raping our daughters, and it's being fed to us in ways that we don't even know how to identify. So let's go back to our trusty dusty chart so we can just see. Breitbart talked about John Podesta, of course Tony Podesta is his brother, who both of them worked for Hillary Clinton. John Podesta works directly the right hand, but her left hand is Huma Abedin, who was married to Anthony Weiner, who's being investigated for child sex crimes, and also Podesta was implicated in this email with David Brock, who just so happens to be a friend of Tony Podesta, who's an ex-boyfriend of Brock, and Huma Abedin and Hillary Clinton are good friends with Marina Abramovic from what we can see. And Marina Abramovic is not just some random individual. She has access to Lady Gaga, to Jay-Z and Beyonce, and many others who are controlling the culture in our communities. I'm not changing my opinion, I'm just being honest. I gotta say this, black and white. I'm not letting white folks off the hook for racism, I'll just be honest. There are even white folks out there that don't like this, but again, even the whites that say that they're brave, they will not do what I'm doing. They're not gonna call the small hats out. You won't find them, except maybe David Duke, maybe. That's it. So there's nobody that's shared it. See, how many people are moved so far by what you've heard? I mean, honestly, you really are moved by what you've heard. Does it bother you? That's good. If people knew, we wouldn't be this easily dragged into this. Even the young people, if they knew that their entertainers was hanging around with spirit cooking, demon drinking, blood soaked floor stuff, they wouldn't be part of that. So let's keep going. I gotta move a little faster here. Spirit cooking. So, I'm sorry. This is John Podesta, reportedly in his office, his own picture on the wall. Got a dude laying on the table, another guy with a butcher knife, another guy with a plate and a knife. Looks like they about to carve this dude up. Now, none of them got doctor's suits on or nothing, so it ain't like no autopsy. So we go into the emails. Let's look at Tony Podesta, writing John Podesta, his brother. Last night was fun. Still in the torture chamber? Now, we can assume maybe they was working out real hard. They call it a torture chamber. I don't know. But with all this other stuff, can you understand why people look at this and are very uncomfortable? Because we remember here, somebody talking about where the werewolves lock themselves up during the full moon. Looks like a torture chamber, doesn't it? So people are uncomfortable. But let's go further. This is Tony Podesta. These are not no pictures I snuck in his house and took. He's happy. This is Home Life magazine. Showing you homes of people. He said, come on into my house. Let me show you what I got. Got a picture of a decapitated metal body hanging from the ceiling in a Jeffrey Dahmer pose, the way he used to kill his victims after he ate them, after he killed them and cut their heads off and left them in that's the way, like when they found the bodies, he would leave them like that for whatever reason. This is what he got hanging from his wall. And then, one of his favorite artists, where his house is adorned with these pictures, is Biljana Djurdjevic. And these are the kind of stuff that Biljana Djurdjevic, and again, I don't really want to explain to you, I don't know, man. It ain't right. I don't know, man. I don't know. I mean, dead little white female bodies in the swamp? If they had black females there, I would say, oh, these racist white folks. But like they white with white children of their own in swamps, I don't know, man. So this is his house, and on his wall, there you got one little female in the back. Here you got the same two swamp murder victims there. Here are some dead females apparently on the bottom of the pool. This is the art in his house, with the decapitated head hanging from the ceiling. This is the brother who's very well-to-do, is really going on. I really want to know, so far from what you're saying, is it reasonable that people should say this should be investigated, this should be looked into? Yeah. All right, here we got another one. I'm gonna hurt some more feelings. Remember that Stratford company that we told they had emails? When we talking about George Bush Sr.? Let's go to Stratford. This is from Don, and again, we can't convict anybody on this, but this is Don Kukendo. He's writing somebody, get ready for Chicago Hot Dog Friday. To celebrate all you hot dogs out there. You can participate, tell Eric, you can participate as well. Then Fred Burton comes back and says, I think Obama spent about $65,000 of the taxpayers' money flying in pizza and hot dogs from Chicago for a private party at the White House not long ago. Assume we are using the same channels? So now again, we can't convict on this, but man, I think Obama spent about $65,000 of taxpayer money flying in pizza, little girls, and dogs, little boys, from Chicago, for a private party at the White House. So if they just talk about pizza and hot dogs, who flies in pizza and hot dogs on a plane? So people see this and like, hold up, man. Because if Hillary is hanging with all these people and all this stuff, and all of them, that was his Secretary of State, and he was pushing all this gay stuff around the world, people start getting very concerned. Again, can't convict on the lifetime membership of the gay bathhouse in Chicago, can't convict on Larry Sinclair's press conference in 2009 where he said he had love affair. We can't convict on all that stuff. But one thing we can say is that Terry Bean, who just so happens to be, you can see it right here on Wikipedia, he was a member of Barack Obama's National Finance Council. He also happens to be owner of a company that owns and controls one of the primary companies in this country that does male pornography. Not just that, but he himself was tried for him and his boyfriend molested, reportedly, or had to go to trial, a 15-year-old boy. But guess what? By the time the trial came up, the boy wouldn't come to trial. So then they let him off. We can also convict on this. When the country of Uganda said we are sick of pedophiles raping children, we don't know what this is, but we're going to stop it. They made a law saying any man that rapes a boy gets the death penalty. Period. What did Barney Frank do with Obama? Barney Frank comes out and writes a bill saying we should cut financial aid to Uganda if they don't change this law. Then they got real insidious. They said, well, if we tell people, they say we're going to kill pedophiles, people will be happy. Change it. So they start telling everybody, Uganda created a kill the gays bill. They didn't tell nobody that they was talking about people that rape children. And they forced Uganda to back up. What else? 2010, when the so-called earthquake hits Haiti, our brothers and sisters suffering. Who does Obama appoint to collect the money? The butcher of New Orleans, the Bush Brown massacre, George Bush Jr., who we just saw with the Stratford emails where he is with this whole thing, and Bill Clinton himself, Miss Monica Lewinsky himself, and the thieves and crooks that robbed Haiti. I'm going to show this video because it's very important for my Haitian brothers and sisters who don't think we hear your pain. We do. We just in a battle for our survival here ourselves, but we got to get together, brothers and sisters. What are the Clintons doing in Haiti? Once they got power, who did they go and put in charge of the country? Bill Clinton, Hillary Clinton, who did they use their power? A homophile, open, look, Sweet Mickey, that was his name. Doing all kind of gay stuff publicly. They take this guy from DJing parties, flaming dude, and make him the president of Haiti against the will of our Haitian brothers and sisters.
I'm here joined by Joseph. Joseph, can you explain to us why is the Haitian community mad at Hillary Clinton?
Well, we have every reason to be mad because the Clintons have destroyed Haiti for the decades. And, you know, they pretend to be our friends when in reality they are our #1 enemies. You see, after the earthquake, countries around the world donate billions of dollars. The amount was much larger than $6 billion. And Bill Clinton was in charge of the money. And hundreds of homes were destroyed after the earthquake. And if you can believe, the people are still living under tents. That's unacceptable. And not only they held the money, they kept the money. Haiti have gold. We have one of the largest gold mines in the Caribbean. And who do you think is in charge of our gold right now? The contract. Tony Rada, Hillary Clinton's brother. He's got a 26 years contract. And then also Haiti used to produce, we used to produce our own rice. We didn't have to buy rice overseas. Bill Clinton destroyed our rice so his brother can sell the rice from Arkansas. So they're doing a lot of things. Right now, if there's a millionaire or a billionaire who wants to do business in Haiti, they cannot do anything unless they check with the Clintons. The Clintons are the one who's running Haiti. They're dropping disease in Haiti. They're stealing our money. They're stealing our resources. So we are out here. We are outraged for the crimes of the Clintons. Chelsea Clinton, all the Clinton Foundation, they're just stealing money. And most of the money, I can tell you right now, most of the money they have right now is from Haiti, from the Haitians. We are rich. Haiti used to call the island of Pearl. Haiti is still rich. So there are Haitian lawyers, Haitian doctors everywhere they are millionaires, who wants to go and spend their money in Haiti. But the United States government, not only they stealing our resources, our money, they create kidnapping. Now we are even afraid to go ahead. You cannot walk in the streets in Haiti. And then what the Clintons, they own the hotel, they go everywhere, they do whatever they want. This is unacceptable. I myself, I'm ready to die. I want the whole world to know who the Clintons are. We don't have an election right now because of the Clintons. This needs to be stopped because they chose, the one we had before was Michel Martelly. He was a crackhead or a guy who was putting down his pen doing all corruption. He is the one that the Clintons support. And then on his administration, the Clinton was allowed to steal billions of dollars in Haiti. We need to govern our own country. We need to be able to trade with other countries because we have gold, we have uranium, we have oil, we have marble, we have everything. So it's time for us, just leave us alone. Stop saying we are poor. We don't even need help from the United States. We have enough resources to trade with China, with other countries, because we are the first black Republic Haitian who free ourselves from
Gonna make you proud to see our Haitian brothers and sisters fighting and standing up. For the vendors, I'm actually gonna send my brother a shoe. Could you raise your hand, my brother? That strong warrior there around, he's gonna collect the money from the vendors right now, and I'm gonna keep going. So, what people don't know is that in Haiti, right now, they have created a systematic raping of the children that's so horrendous. Parents cannot let their children walk outside by themselves at all. They are systematically raping the boys and the girls throughout the entire island. If you want more information, we'll put some videos in here as well to, I'm sorry, brother just walked out. He just walked out. If you want some more, we can go to EzeliDanto, EzeliDanto.com. She has a lot of information on what's going on in Haiti and what we can do to try to stop it. Now, why am I talking about Haiti so much? Because, again, who's in Haiti doing the disruption? You heard the brother say it was the Clintons. Well, if it's the Clintons, we got to ask ourselves, is that why Bill Clinton reportedly has made numerous trips back and forth to what is called Orgy Island of this convicted pedophile, Jeffrey Epstein? Do you remember, you read The Secret Relationship Between Blacks and Jews, where they talked about how the small hats, Epstein, would have islands where they would have black people where they could go and the individuals from around the world go and have sex with the females? Well, that's what they have now. Most of these are white, though. And he got convicted of that. But listen, when he was actually being prosecuted in Florida, where they had reportedly a bunch of females, I think it was up to like 40 females, I can't remember the exact number, that were alleging that they committed sex crimes to them, most of them underage, on the island. He had the prosecutor, listen, not his defense attorney, the prosecutor who's prosecuting him, according to some reports, went behind the back of all the females that were trying to get him locked up and worked out a deal where he could not be federally prosecuted, which could have got a life imprisonment, and end up only having to do, I think, like 18 months. Well, guess who it is reported was that prosecutor in Florida on his trial? Alexander Acosta, who's now being nominated for the Secretary of Labor. So we got these folks all in high-ranking situations, that apparently are connected to some kind of unsavory behavior with children. And then what? Who is this? Again, who reportedly have all kind of links to the Clinton Foundation. Who is this? Laura Silsby. You probably remember the reports when 12 whites were caught kidnapping 33 Haitian girls and trying to bring them across to the Dominican Republic. We assume to spirit cook them once they get them here, rape them and do whatever, then kill them, or whatever they're doing. And guess who reportedly used their power? Who did the brother say runs Haiti? Right. So who do we assume helped get her out of Haiti? I can't hear y'all. They can't hear you. Right. So now she gets out of Haiti and we assume she get back to America and get prosecuted, right? Trying to kidnap black children and bring them to another country. Actually, we find out there's a company called AlertSense. And on this company called AlertSense, you go to their website, according to them, their vice president of marketing is a Laura Gaylor. Well, when we look up Laura Gaylor, something says since her release from detention in Haiti, Laura Silsby has returned to Idaho. In 2015, she married and took the last name Gaylor. Silsby is currently employed by software company AlertSense as their vice president of marketing. AlertSense works with the federal government on FEMA's integrated public alert and warning system. One of IPAW's functions is to issue Amber Alerts during kidnapping events. Now, I wasn't going to put this up here except she's still up there on the website. So I was like, this can't be real. And I'm like, nah, this can't be true. This is somebody trying to give false information so that if you tell the story and get a piece of it wrong, they would say, look at this misinformation. She's still on the website right now. I didn't get this from nobody else. I went to the website. Now, if that's the same Laura Gaylor, or if it's a different one, then I apologize for that. But I don't think it's a different one. I don't think it's a different one because we got companies here now. We talked about Haiti, right? And you know, they have these NGOs and nonprofits that are supposed to be helping the black girls in Haiti. Girl power in Haiti. You can help protect and empower girls in Haiti. It's called Beyond Borders. On their website, it says we're working to end child slavery and prevent violence against women and girls in Haiti. Sounds beautiful, doesn't it? So man, where can I find this place so I can go visit? Well, if you go up Connecticut Avenue and you go to Beyond Borders, you look next door and they got another restaurant that some people have reportedly said they have a sign that's a girl love symbol. Across the street is Politics and Prose, where the Clintons and all the political people go to give their speeches. One block up, Best of Pizza, that reportedly had the pedophile symbol 2 doors down, Comet, Ping Pong, and Pizza. Right catty corner across the street from Beyond Borders, where they're supposed to be helping save the little black girls in Haiti, who we know that Laura Silsby was trying to bring across to America. Let's go back to Mr. Alifante's Instagram. What did it say? Whip up a Haitian special with extra cheese. A bunch of little girls. Where might we suspect they could be getting these Haitian girls? Not across the street from Beyond Borders. That doesn't make sense, does it? We shouldn't be suspicious, should we? This is all conspiracy theory. No reason for anybody to feel bad. Who went to Haiti and publicly came and tried to get Laura Silsby and those 12 off? A guy who wasn't even qualified to act as an attorney. His name is Jorge Anibal Torres Puelo. We see him with his little small hat, so I don't have to tell you it's a small hat. But guess what? This guy has also been arrested for international child sex trafficking. So why would an international child sex trafficker, if you're innocent, be coming to try to help you get off a charge of international sex trafficking. Does that make any sense at all? And this is the last slide I'll do, and then we'll go and take another quick break and come back and wrap it up. But here's my question. This is getting so bad that even whites that start talking about what's going on, even if they don't mention it by race, they just talking about what's going on, they're not doing too good. January 3rd, 2016, reported.
Y'all all right? Yeah. Give me one quick moment. That scared you, didn't it? I saw some of y'all. Oh, they coming for me. Give me that door. That door, bring it up. One thing we know, we don't know win, lose, or draw. When they come here, they gonna get a fight, ain't they? I don't think that's how they come here, they gonna get a fight, ain't they? Ain't nobody scared in the room now. You done stayed this long. Ain't no cowards. Cowards gone.
Yes, sir. He said, put the wet towel on the face and let's get it on. I ain't gonna lie. There was a time, let's do it, white folks. Man, I'm done these spirit cookers. I'm just hold my talking. We gotta fight, we gonna fight, but I ain't gonna, they eat babies and stuff. All right, we back live on the rec. This is Laura Silsby. This is Monica Peterson, who is the Assistant Director of Human Trafficking Center. In January 3rd, her friend, Bella somebody, said that she sent this post. She's in Haiti. She's the Assistant Director of Human Trafficking Center in the U.S. Some wisdom you can only get from field work. Some wisdom you can only get from field work. Quite the scandal. And as the anniversary of Haiti's earthquake approaches this week, along with the upcoming 2016 presidential elections in both Haiti and the U.S., this is significant. It's January 3rd, 2016. It's unsurprising to me personally, but starts to connect the dots on what I already suspected. If the Clintons plan to decimate Haiti with their gold looting, apparently contracting with the Dominican Republic, not Haiti, I guess we know why Martelli's, that's the fruit boy from Haiti that we just talked about, the homophile, the Martelli's guy, which now they put another one that he just talked about in office under Martelli, is set to steal the elections. Miss Clinton has corrupt and dirty business to finish in Haiti. The people suffer so. This is the theory my master's thesis puts forth. This is modern structural slavery, disaster capitalism at its finest. A year later, not even a whole year, November 2016, she's hung to death, saying she committed suicide.
Yeah, right.
All right. So again, just to show the connection so we understand. We got Breitbart and the Podestas all the way down to David Brock here. We see them all the way here to Huma Abedin, all the way down to Lady Gaga and these characters here. We see Barack Hussein Obama, who put in who? Clinton and Bush to take over and control the money going to Haiti, which has been looted. And the Clintons, we know, are connected with Martelli, who's now in charge of Haiti, even through his patsy now. And then Clinton connected to who? Jeffrey Epstein, who's connected to who? Alexander Acosta, from the information that I got, that was the prosecutor in this trial. So we see all high-level people linked to some kind of way, shape, or form to stuff that's happening to children. And so, brothers and sisters, Pizzagate is real. It is not about what we can prove that they're doing. It's about the fact that, like we showed, I showed you decades of proof of engineering society to make it acceptable for adults to have sex with children, particularly with grown males with young boys. I showed you it so you can see it and nobody can take that away from you. So it's not a matter of what we can prove that they've done. It's a matter that they are connected in every way, shape, or form. We've seen with all these individuals that have been locked up in court for pedophiles, being friends with them and in the same circles. And it's not just the white team. Hear me. Because we're going to stop, take a quick break, and we're going to come back and wrap it up. I want you to hear this, as I say it very clearly. Our entire leadership has been compromised. Let me say it so that it's not confusing. All. I'm not talking about on the ground and the community people. I'm not talking about the people that are doing work on the ground. In terms of the people who we see in the popular mainstream media that get visibility to millions of our people, they have all been compromised, which means the only way you're going to get information like what you're getting today is you got to investigate and put it out, or you can come to Straight Black Pride Movement or Warner Horizon, or you just ain't going to get it. Are there individuals doing it? Absolutely. They share information with us all the time. I'm not knocking anybody. Organized, saying we got to do something to say about it, you're not going to get it. All of them are compromised. They're either involved or they're getting paid. Or there's something on them where they're not going to do it or they're scared. All of them. So, if you can hit the lights for me again, we're going to take a quick break, brothers and sisters. Again, when we come right back, we're going to wrap it up with the solutions. Are y'all ready for some solutions? Is that real information? All right. All right, so again, brothers and sisters, if you're out there watching Liberation at WarnerHorizon.com, please contribute. You can go to the Warner Horizon website. We're trying to raise $3,000. We believe that this is worth $300,000. But $3,000 will tell us that you appreciate the work that we're doing. Support the vendors. Buy all of the posters there, all of your African garments right here. So you're going to be the fly. No, we won't have this ready for. This DVD will be ready in about 2 to 3 weeks, brothers and sisters. Make sure we go to Alkmaar and get all our jewelry. Let's keep that line going to get our food. Let's get us some African garments so we can be the proudest, productive, most beautiful black folks in town. And let's get us some everlasting life. Our brother Kwame always shout. Yes. All right, brothers. I'm sorry. We got to go ahead and start back up because we got to wrap it up. We're over our time, so don't stop buying. Keep getting what you're getting. We just want to bring down the volume and do it in a whisper. Let the money talk. And one of the sisters asked if people can give donations to help us get to what we're going for. The brother and sister at the table, the lanes. Could you raise your hand, the lanes? Anybody here that wants to give contribution, either cash or through credit card or PayPal, however you want to do it, you can do it right there with the lanes. This is our Atlanta Straight Black Pride chapter leaders there. Thank you for everybody for your support. Okay, so if we could hit, is everybody okay buying with the lights dim? Just so we can get it, so people can see the video better. Is everybody out of it? Is it okay with that? All right, let's dim those lights. Let's take them down. Let's take them down. Here we go. All right. You got security, so you all right. Don't go biting nobody. We're talking this pizza game. Somebody go biting somebody. Ah! They pizza gated me. Let's talk about why we came today. I didn't come to, ooh, did you know this? Who did you know to do that? Let's talk about, and I'm going to tell you a little bit just to make it clear why even I would even do this in the particular environment that we're in. First thing first, I got to let you know, I want to show you this because it's important for me to show you and not tell you. When I say that it is being legalized now, listen to what I'm saying. I'm not saying I think. Essentially, internationally, the homophiles have come out of the closet and are basically saying, this is legal now. They're not exactly saying it that way, but that's essentially what's going on. This was from England. This is 2017. It's not 5 years ago, 4 years ago. Listen to this short clip.
Britain's most senior child protection officer suggested that low-risk paedophiles shouldn't be sent to jail.
Chief Constable Simon Bailey says lower-level offenders should be given counselling and rehabilitation. Instead, he joins us now. Good morning to you. Front page of the Times newspaper this morning. What do you mean by this? And some people are concerned that perhaps this gives the wrong message.
Well, I think there's a very, very clear message that I'm giving today. The police service working with the National Crime Agency has never been so robust in this field. We are arresting over 400 men every month. We are safeguarding over 500 children every month as a result of targeting those people that would view indecent imagery of children. But the fact is, we are simply becoming inundated with a number of referrals that we are having to deal with and a number of cases that our child protection teams are now having to cope with. And we have sophisticated risk assessment tools that I am as confident as I can be will be able to determine whether or not an individual poses a risk of contact abusing a child. And when you look at the number of resources that we now have working within this field, you look at the numbers that we are now having to deal with, I am proposing that we have to take a slightly different approach whereby, and all individuals will still be arrested, but there are alternative solutions rather than putting these people through the court system who are now dealing with between 40 and 50% of all their time are unfortunately allegations of sexual abuse. Cases are taking too long to come to court, and we have to look at an alternative whereby those individuals that we assess as posing little risk to children of contact abuse have to attend some form of rehabilitation course, have to attend a course whereby they are educated as to the impact of their abuse, the impact of their offending, whereby they are not then put into the justice system itself.
Okay, so they wouldn't be...
So, did any time during the quote-unquote war on drugs, was it too many black people to arrest and lock up and run through the system? They just lock you up and leave you in there, you don't get a trial. Essentially what they're saying is, no matter what level, if it's not arrestable and you're not capable of going to jail, essentially it's not what? It's not illegal, it's not a crime. If it's not a crime, then it is what? It's legal. I want you to understand, this is where everything is going. Just to show you, in some places that are more open to homophilia, they're not even playing games like what we just saw. This is Brussels, in Belgium. They got big, huge billboards, just putting up on the side of the road in apartment buildings, just huge billboards. A little child being choked to death with a guy with a butcher knife right there on it. They saying this is our world, ain't nothing. This is Brussels again, Belgium. Side of a skyscraper. A huge body that's been tortured and gutted. What they're saying is we're the homophiles, we're here. You either with us or you against us. They're powerful enough, they're rich enough, they think that they can come to the world and say, you gonna do it our way, or you gonna be our friend, or you gonna be our victim. They're not even pretending anymore. In America, we just pretend like we don't see it. It's already here. They've already come everywhere you look. You see them taking our sons and turning them into their daughters. We see them taking our children in broad daylight. You can walk outside and you see some Europeans, homosexuals, homophiles, not just white though. At this point, it ain't just white. It's white, black, whoever will accept this homophile war against society. They tell them, go ahead and get you an Indian or something, whatever you want a black child, they help for sale now. It's public. It's not private. It's not hidden. You like girls more than boys? No problem. Come get what you want. It's a whole market. We are now in the process of being re-enslaved right in front of our face, and the most innocent people in our community, which is our children, have nobody that's standing up in defense of them. Rather, they have a bunch of homophile defenders and homosexuals telling our people to accept this. Yet we can see publicly what it's leading to. Again, this is everywhere. I'm not showing you anything that you haven't seen. It's in the street now, you'll actually see it. And I told you, when you see open pedophilia, that means you're in a psychopathic war for your survival, whether you know it or not. That's what the psychology, that's how deep it is. And you see, they in the gym, you be seeing these gay dudes in the gym. Remember, you think they in there, why they getting busted and everything? We don't think like them. You don't understand, brothers, what they got in store for us. What they think they got in store for us. They know what the objective is. They're in the system. They say, we're going to get ready for these dudes, and we're going to come take the children. They don't like it, we'll take them. And we playing games, watching Nintendo, watching sports, and they having sports with our children. Just bring them in the house, do what they want. What we going to do? I mean, they're doing it open and publicly, saying, advertising pedophilia in this society. And now they're dragging our women into it through the media and through drawing them in through art. Now they're getting, and I got a lot of sisters that disappointed me who are, African centered, and I believe in our people. And we say, look, sisters shouldn't be naked with children, doing stuff publicly. They're pulling us into this homophile war that we're doing. And when I saw the resistance I was getting from black women, I said, I got to do something. That wasn't why I did this, but that's when I said, I got to do something, because our sisters have been so unprotected, their minds cannot even see when they're participating in the most savage kind of insanity that you can possibly imagine. And they're drawing all ages of our women into insanity, where we can no longer see right from wrong and what is sick and perverse from normal. We can't even see it anymore. I had sisters call themselves African-centered arguing with me, good sisters, arguing with me that it's not bad for a grown woman to have her baby on a stripper pole, because you can do good exercise on a stripper pole. That's what they're doing to our people. Literally, if it was a male with a little baby on a stripper pole, you would say, what kind of freak is he? He should be shot in his head. But now they're drawing our women into it, and now the women are, because again, black women who are victims of sexual abuse are now being funded and put forward in society and made popular for promoting the results of their own abuse. It is absolute insanity. We talk about the DC missing girls. Why aren't the police doing anything? Well, let's just be very clear. Let me be very clear. Fox 5 uncovers disturbing information about DC Sergeant Jessica Hawkins. This is a guy. DC police officer. This is a dude. He's a transgender face of the LGBT liaison unit. I've been following this for a few years. Homophiles do stuff in public that if anybody that wasn't homophile did it, you get locked up. So DC police created a special unit to understand how they operate so that you don't lock them up for the same type of sexual stuff you would lock anybody else that was doing that in public up. And guess what they put in charge of? A dude that thinks he's a female. I'm not sure if he's been fired or not yet. I don't think he has, but look, they put him in charge, and what does he do? He takes the summer interns for the police department. They're not even 21 yet, so they're not supposed to be drinking. They in the bar, and he goes on his phone and shows them videos of him having sex with 4 dudes. And admits to it. And as far as I know, he hasn't been fired. So if you think the homophile police department that has been saying nothing's wrong with Comet Ping Pong, and if you think the homophile with the gun is going to jump in front of the homophiles going after children, we crazier than they are. Not every police officer is on board with this, but from the infrastructure level, they are on board. They are not going to investigate nothing about this. They're part of it, in my opinion. We go back. I'm going to show you something again. You can't let a child see this, and some of y'all are not going to want to see it. If you turn away on this one, I understand. I want you to understand why I came out of retirement. Literally, I stopped this work and saying, because of the economics, I'm saying, now 2 things. One, because people weren't moving the way I thought we needed to move. And because of that, I said, I got to go make money so I can institute it myself and give people jobs, and then maybe I can get people in that way. So I said, I got to deal with the finances as opposed to constantly giving my people this message, put myself in the direct line of fire. I done called out all the presidents here. I done called out all the major entertainers, all the black leaders. Nobody else will do it. I got to do it every time. Then I got to walk outside and go home. After everybody else goes home, man, I got a lot of energy. I got to drive home, pull up to the house, and walk in. You know what I'm saying? That's what I got to do. So I said, look, let me go get the money, then I can institute this stuff. What happened? I'm going to take you back to 2012, May 7, 2012. We did an interview with a brother. His son was named Jason Smith, brother named Shadow. He went to California to get some clothes for his son, came back for school time. They had raped his son, and they had gutted him. He found out because when he went to the funeral and he touched his son, his hand just fell right to his chest. When he looked at what happened, they had stuffed his body with newspaper and taken all his organs out. So I knew there was a problem back then, and we did the program, but I didn't really follow it like that. So I'm showing you this to understand, brother, why did I come out and say, I gotta do this? So, we remember Kendrick Johnson, same thing. His parents had his body exhumed. They stole his body on him. Said he wrapped himself up in a mat and killed himself. So, I'm going to show you, before I tell you why I'm doing this, so you can see. Listen carefully to the cities that this is occurring in, and start asking yourself some questions.
Always taking action for you. And first to 60 investigation of a business deal that deals in human body parts shifting from Detroit to Chicago as the feds launch a new raid.
And once again, hundreds of families will be left wondering if the bodies of loved ones have been bought and sold on the black market.
7 Action News investigator Jim Kirshner is here tonight with the story you'll see only at 7. Jim.
Stephen and Carolyn, this case started here, according to sources, when a man named Arthur Rathburn was shipping human body parts through Metro Airport. Get this, the box leaked blood. Those cargo haulers then called for help.
Why were you stockpiling hundreds of human body parts here, sir?
That's Art Rathburn. And remember his business 13 months ago? For 2 days, federal investigators dressed in hazmat suits removed body parts of 1,000 different people. Arms, legs, heads cut up and kept on ice, not embalmed, so they would be fresh for the black market. Today, the rundown warehouse on Detroit's east side is shuttered and up for sale. Sources say Rathburn's seized records led them to the Chicago area today, a business called Biological Resource Center in Rosemont. It's difficult to see from the outside, but sources say the hazmat suits and raid are underway. on the 6th floor of this office building. The same paper trail led investigators to Biological Resource Center in Phoenix last January, and another raid removing body parts and corpses. There were also ties to similar businesses in Las Vegas. Since these dealt directly with the public, families were left without answers. Julie donated her husband Steve's body and was promised his cremated remains back in a month.
Confused and angry. We thought this was going to be doing some good. Yet it doesn't sound like it is.
What do you say to all those families who had no idea their loved ones were in here? Michigan pulled Art Rathburn's license last year after our reporting, even though they were told about his problems 2 years before.
Let's go find out what the heck he is doing, and that wasn't done. Right?
Did we do something 2 years ago? No, we didn't. Are we doing an investigation now? Yes, we are.
Are you worried about going to prison?
Now, no one has been charged by the feds yet. There are actually 2 locations involved in this raid going on right now in the Chicago area. The offices in Rosemont and the lab in another suburb where they have found body parts. But my sources say this case is winding down, and with this new evidence in Chicago, they can now finish this case after some 13 months.
This is so gruesome. Any idea how many families you're talking about here with loved ones that may be involved?
It's going to depend a lot on the records. It depends if they're talking hundreds or thousands, and with those records that they've seized, and are those records even up to date, or have they been doctored? That could be spelled out in an indictment once it's handed down.
Yeah, you would not expect it necessarily to be accurate the way it's been handled so far. It could be great, yeah.
All right. What are the 2 main cities that they talked about? All right, Detroit and Chicago. What stands out about Detroit? Say it again. They don't have resources, and they what race? What stands out about Chicago? Who's in control of Chicago now? And what is relevant about Rahm Emanuel? Okay, small hat. Who what? He was what? Chief of staff for Obama. Where's Obama from? Chicago. What's the strongest black organization historically in the last 40 years we've had? Where are their main primary locations? And? Right. And don't misunderstand me. I'm not saying that they're doing it. I just want you to understand. When you start looking at this stuff and start asking yourself, how can this be going on there, and you're the strongest institution, and you're not having any impact on that, but you are having an impact trying to tell people to hate me, because I'm saying that black men go to be with black women, that homosexuality is not acceptable, but I'm a freak. So wait a minute, man. Who's on our side? So I started looking at this and I said, this stuff is not like nobody else can't share this with us. I'm not the only person in the world. This is on YouTube. Where are people talking about organ trafficking? So I'm going to show you something, and I'm going to tell you, to be honest, a lot of y'all can't watch this. Definitely cover his eyes on this one. I'm showing you because I want you to understand why I'm here today. I am not here to do another lecture. This is how it hit me. I've been doing this work for years. I knew it was a problem, but I didn't totally understand it. I'm sorry, wait a minute. So, a sister contacted me that I know. She's from Canada. She's back in Canada, said, I just left Jamaica. My people are calling me. She said, they're organ trafficking black women. They're killing them in Jamaica. You got to do something here, Genie. I'm like, I'm the only person in the world? Genie, nobody else can put this out there. So I'm like, dang. I said, well, look, because when somebody tells you that they're killing a bunch of black women and taking their body parts, you know that it's happening, but it's kind of fantastic. So I'm out and said, well, sister, we'll put you on the radio. I'll contact one of the radio programs. Said, we got your spot to tell the story, but it can help if you give us some, some proof and some evidence. So in my mind, I'm thinking, ain't no evidence. Somebody died, a couple of sisters, whatever. So the sister sends me first a brother who is a medical brother. And he's talking about it, and he's explaining why he think that it's organ trafficking, when he first thought it was just sisters getting killed. And he seemed very convincing. I said, okay, that's one. And secondly, she sent another video. And a black guy's being tied around a tree, and people are beating him up, and I can't, they speaking patois, but they screaming at him. But then another sister comes up and speaks a little bit better so I can understand it. She, according to her, he was caught with girls in the trunk or something like that was kidnapping these children, and now they finally caught one of these guys. And so the sister was telling me that the people are saying the Chinese are paying black people in Jamaica to go around and kill these women. So at the time she said that, I was a little bit more like, whoa, man, is this real? Then she sent me what I'm about to show you. Everybody can't watch this, but I gotta show you, because I want you to understand why did I say I gotta tell my people what's going on. This is how the ancestors, I'm gonna call it the ancestors, came to me and said, son, you have a responsibility. So she said, she sent me this and said, is that enough fruit for you? Always.
Bumbo clad dog, General Star. Mr. Mankind are the worst life form on earth. Are the worst life form sent from blood clot earth. Mankind. Look how the boy them to the woman, dog. Look how them cut out the woman belly. Take out the woman parts. Bumbo clad, take out the woman heart. Live by the bumbo clad thing. Pussy clad. Channel star. Why mankind do them something, man? We don't kill off the bumbo clad woman. Them work for the fuck, man. A batty business and one blood clot bring in. We don't destroy the woman them so. Somebody don't know them bumbo clot science and them bumbo clot people that cook up in them. Yeah, because from what you see them a blood clot baby born and so you could choke something on them bumbo clot. The like they want to say them can do it out to man. That's how they come and kill out the blood clot come on them. You don't tell me, you know, I be a fuck you know go on with them. From what you so like you know cut out to man out there world, you know. About baby can born without bumbo clot without two man and them something. You know I got dead in a pussy wall. Remember me tell you I got dead enough. You see no found have the dirty style of Jamaica but not kill blood clot woman. You know I got dead like dog out there. Yeah, I love how them are catching a one and a murder and a bumbo clot in a Jamaica. Yeah, when I follow some people overseas and I take price for blood clot money. You know I got dead enough. I be a jungle down a blood clot something to come here with you know.
This is a day in my life. This is how it goes. But this particular thing, I don't always have enough resources to share every single story or whatever the case may be. In this particular situation, it was real now. And what happened is, the first thing that happened, I said, you know what? Every single male, I won't call him a black man, that's running around here talking about that's what they do in the privacy of their own home, you're responsible for why this happened. Because men are responsible for protecting the women and children. We can't call ourselves men, and we would let this happen. And then the left side of my brain jumped in and said, yeah, and every one of these sisters that's out here rubbing the tummy of these homophiles, smiling and grinning and making them comfortable in their feminine, sexually backwards behavior, is rubber stamping this because these are homophiles that are doing this. These are individuals who are messed up, they're rapists, they're murderers, they're homophiles, pedophiles, homosexuals, and they all messed up because we didn't protect them, brothers. And now, for any little money they can get, they'll go out there to make some money and chop up our women, and they're doing it to brothers now too. I had people calling me from Trinidad. I was on the radio, and when I started telling the story, what the sister was telling me, the brothers from Trinidad said, "Mom, we got a bunch of girls missing, but we never know what's why." And I said, man. And what happened is, after getting out my emotions, I said, now I see. I want you to listen, because it all came to me. I know what's happening now. Again, I can't say that the Chinese are paying people. I'm just saying the information that the people from Jamaica sent me. Right after it happened, they said that the people were saying it was the Chinese. I said, is there any proof to that? They said, no, but Jamaica and China signed an agreement to build a children's hospital in Mobay, Montego Bay. This is January 2017, so at the same time, and from what the sister's telling me, because the people started sending videos across, we put it out. I put that on my website so everybody can see. From what she said, the Jamaican government said anybody that gets shown, that gets caught sending any type of video across seas saying that they're human trafficking, you're going to be arrested. And in Jamaica, they know exactly what that means. So now, people can't share the information because they can track WhatsApp and see who's sending the information and saying what's going on. Brothers and sisters, it hit me like this. The Arab slave trade, what did they do? They got black people who saw themselves more as Muslim than as Africans. Listen, it's important that I do that. I'm not trying to make friends here. I don't got no history lesson argument to give with people. Listen, they got black people, African people, to see themselves more as Muslim than as African. Once they had done that, they then used those black people to help them invade, and for 1,300 years, the Arabs have been enslaving African people, much longer than what we went through here in the Western Hemisphere. You see here, the brother's privates are gone. He's what they call a eunuch. Those are the ones that were the most, you had to spend the most money for, because they wanted these brothers to guard the harems with the black women that they would use for their sexual interests, or the young boys. Nobody talks about this, but the Arabs are just as homosexual, just as much homophile, if not more, than the Euros, particularly in the way they relate to African people. Raping boys is part of the culture, from what I've been told from people in Zanzibar. I'm showing this to show you right now, 2017, listen to me, brothers and sisters. Right now, that same army that Obama funded to go over and kill Gaddafi, the original African inhabitants have been almost exterminated, and the West African migrants that were living there are now being auction blocked every day, sold to Arabs into slavery. But what people wasn't talking about, this is how I started seeing the picture, at the same time the Africans that were being marched through the Muslim parts of Africa were being slave traded. The ones that was running away from one place to try to go to Libya or other places, trying to cross the Sahara, they were being killed by the Arabs and their body parts were being taken. So I'm like, well, wait a minute, I see what's happening. We look at the slave trade, and the same thing happened. They came in with the Moors. Once the Moors were put out of Spain and Southern Europe, the Moors saw themselves more than as African. They wanted to destroy West Africa, the Songhai Empire. So the Europeans, because they didn't want the Moors coming back to fight with them, gave cannons, went down there, helped destroy West Africa. Thus what? Thus opening up the gates for the complete enslavement of our people and the Atlantic slave trade. And then they used the Lancados, who were the mulattoes of the black women who were kidnapped off the west coast of Africa prior to the slave trade. They produced babies with them, learned the language, and sent them back here with resources to organize the slave trade. And they joined with those same individuals who didn't see themselves as Africans. Then they used ethnic division. You a Ga, you a Shanti, you this group. We work with the strongest group to enslave that group. When we run out of that group, now we're going to come and enslave you. This is the process that they used. Why am I talking about that? You know, they got black sites in Chicago right now. Literally, they just take you off the street, take you in there, and they can bring you back from that. It came to me. Yeah, this is real talk. And the same thing they did in colonialism, Berlin Conference. They sat and met, and they said, we're going to go into Africa and take the resources. And we're going to carve it up, and all the countries we know today in Africa was done by Europeans. Why am I giving this brief history lesson? What are we dealing with today? It's more dangerous and insidious than anything we've seen before in the history of the world. If I don't say nothing to you, listen to me on this. What we're faced with now is a different type of assault. Remember, when they did the enslavement of African people, it wasn't just us. They was enslaving whites, Native Americans, but we was the low guys on the totem pole, and it got wiped out for everybody else, and it became essentially and exclusively an African trade and bodies. We had too many race traders, and we weren't organized, and we didn't know what the enemy looked like. Now it's way more dangerous. Yes, they're sex trafficking their children, but a few things that have happened which puts us in great jeopardy. One, the two most profitable illegal businesses in the world, right now as I'm talking to you, have just merged to become one. The number one profitable illegal business in the world is sex trafficking. These rich elite, this is what they do. I mean, this is what they do, and it's primarily of children. And they have an organized infrastructure where they can just pass children around the world and do whatever they want. I've seen the homophiles in Ghana. I've seen the homophiles in Gion Hotel in Ethiopia. I've watched it in Kenya. It's all over the world. It's in Haiti. But now, the second most profitable illegal business, body parts, illegal organ trafficking. What has happened, think about the logic. Well, if we got a system where we we can pass children around and make hundreds of millions, if not billions and trillions of dollars, letting people have sex with children. Well, why would we just do that and then just kill the children at the end? Before we kill them, why don't we take the parts? Now we can make as much money or more money than we made in growing them. So they want to F them, then part. I'm going to say it again. Excuse my language, y'all know it, but they want to F them, and then Biden part. So what we're talking about now as African people, this is the most dangerous time in the history of the world because the whites have found out through Pizzagate they got a glimpse of what's happening to their own children. They're not standing for it. Their Navy SEALs is loading them guns and hammers. They like, if Trump don't give us permission to go in and get them, we're going to deal with these homophiles ourselves. They're not playing games. They're not going to allow this to continue to happen with their children. So what happens? At some point, and it ain't going to be that long, they sit in the back room. Who are the major countries that are organ trafficking? China, U.S., Saudi Arabia, and Israel. Always Israel. The hat's always involved. So what does that mean? When the white Anglo-Saxon says, you're not taking no more of my children or we going to war, we ain't going to do none of this talking in media, we going to hit you. They going to sit at the table and say, look, we like children. We like nice body parts. They going to say, we don't care what you freaks like. You're not messing with our children. What's going to be the negotiation, brothers and sisters? Which means now we understand what does it take to be able to get access to people's children. They got to be poor. Their system has to be decimated. Their culture has to be destroyed. They can't have fathers in the homes because the fathers will protect them. They can't have structured family environments, which is why wars going on all over the African world, which is why they're sending all this filthy pornography and filthy degeneracy into the African countries. Everyone I go to, they got the worst garbage you can imagine on television, and it's affecting the young people. Why? They are grooming. This is the grooming process. And we ain't talking like 20 years. We talking about 5, 10 years, and now it becomes public, legalized. We rape them, we part them. That's us. Everybody in here that has a child, you better listen. There's no options in this. Ain't no way out of this fight. We either going to fight and organize and unite internationally so that whatever they want to do, they just can't, or we are done. The 21st century is either the beginning of a new race of strong African people that are united, or we are done. I ain't even sitting here lying to nobody. And I just showed you, just so you can see, I showed you here all of them. We're surrounded by them. Even in the islands. Jamaica, they put her in. Portia, she's promoting the stuff when she was in. The guy in Virgin Islands, they tell me he got a boyfriend, white boyfriend in Massachusetts. When the U.S. made it legal for gay marriage, because they are protected on an island, he tried to change their constitution and say, well, we going to accept gay marriage too, and the people went nuts. I was on the radio, they cut me off the radio. Because I was talking about this. Mark Mattelli, we just talked about hate. Oh, I just got to mention this quickly, and then we're going to wrap it up with solutions. But listen, I'm talking to people that come. First of all, like I said, when this is going on, who do people contact? Warn Horizon. My brothers and sisters, everybody I've talked to from Cameroon has told me the exact same thing. You cannot get a job in the government in Cameroon without involving yourself in a homosexual act. I'm going to say it again. The women say it like this. At least 50%, if not more, of the men in Cameroon are homosexuals. Because they have to go through that process to get employed with the government. Everybody wants a government job. People in Nigeria are telling me that there's a region in northern Nigeria. I don't want to say the wrong one. But in most of these places, this has been going through the Christians. In northern Nigeria, they say the homophiles, that rape little boys, are the elite imams in a region in northern Nigeria, and they systematically molesting the boys. Like, it's becoming part of the culture from the imams in Islam. The Arabs from Oman for hundreds of years has always come down to Zanzibar and made a culture out of molesting our children there that's bled over into Tanzania. So we're looking at a full onslaught and nobody to stand up for us. The old Uncle Tom, the old race trader, we call him a Mobutu. The only thing that is has changed now. The way they used to do the war was through ethnic groups. They created a new ethnic group. It's called the homophile. The homophile's job is to be as sick and demented as possible so that when they come to them with money, just like the slave trade, look, that's your brother. Now, that ain't my brother. I'm God. He's Ashanti. I got to make this money. It's about my money. Now, the homophile is the one that's giving the money to round up the children, to round up our people, and to sell us into this enslavement of what we just talked about. And they're everywhere. Somebody in this room came to hear a homophile talking about, it's not my fault if somebody doing that. That's homophilia. It's wrong, it's bad for black people, and we're under assault. We either gonna be Africans or we ain't. We gonna be about black men and women coming together to build a family, or we ain't. Ain't no middle. Middle is death. What man wants to be in the middle anyway? Let me run through this because our time is getting short. Y'all all right? Yes. All right. Solutions. 1. Absolutely. We might as well, if we don't do this, there's nothing else we can do. We have to take a stance against homosexuality. Let me say it again. I'm saying specifically homosexuality. That is the basic result of sexual abuse in many cases. When the African world community, and it's not coming from the leaders, listen, the people got to do it. We don't have leaders now. We've got to roundly, don't lose your job doing it, but we got to make a definitive position. We don't support homosexuality on any level. It's wrong. Not know somebody else, it's absolutely wrong. We're against it. That will be the single thing that will resonate with black people who've been divided by religion, politics, and everything else around the world, that'll wake all of us up to be able to get on one single page for at least a moment to begin the process of working together. There's nothing else we agree with more than that. Anywhere on the planet, I've been. That's what we agree with, the ones that still have any sanity left. That's what we got to pull together. Then from there, we can start organizing. What else? We have to have an African consciousness campaign. If we don't have an African identity, there's nothing we can do. Because we cannot unite with a bunch of different weird descriptions of who we are. It can't work that way. We got to say we're one race, we're black, we're African people, we are proud of who we are, and we'll go against any force that comes against us. And if you're African anywhere on the planet, we're brothers and sisters. Let's work together because we're facing the same destruction. We got to do it. And one of the basic books that we need around the world, Destruction of Black Civilization, why it tells us where we went wrong, and that's the main thing, no identity. Integrate, want to be with everybody else instead of looking out for our own interests. And 2, we got to know the victories. How do we win? Forget about all the losses. We got to learn from them. We got to get to Irritated Genie. It's a book I hate by Jacob Carruthers, how the Haitians beat every army in the world, facing worse circumstances than we're facing, not as well armed and not as well prepared, or having access to as much as we have internationally, and they beat them all. And they didn't do it by making no friends. 3 places that have to saturate the African world community with these houses of information. Why do I say that? Our people are overexposed to information now. They can't discern anything. So that's why we can't get together and agree on nothing. KemetNew.com, KemetNU.com. Everything we need to know of relevance to save ourselves in the 21st century, you can find KemetNew.com in terms of our spirituality, the history of our story, and who we are. If we don't know who we are, we cannot identify anybody else. There's nothing we can do. The information is already there. Number 2, CopenHouse.com. Culture. What does it mean to be an African? How are we supposed to treat our women? How are we supposed to treat our children? What are we supposed to be doing when we're faced with issues? No better house of information relevant to right now than CopenHouse.com by Wally Rudy. And for the war of it. That's what you're seeing, right? This is war. I don't care what nobody told you. What I did, it's not a game. I had to figure this out. I had to sit through studying thousands of hours of the most insidious, disgusting stuff. Take out the stuff that I wouldn't even want you to see, even if I ain't like you, and say, what do our people need to see to say we should do something? I wish you understood what it takes to do. This is war. want the house of war, of what we are facing and how we survive in the 21st century is war on the horizon. It was created for that. It's right back there. I wouldn't lie to you. What do we need to do with Kim and New? This has to be used, the information with our history and story, to manufacture an international black spiritual renaissance. We need something that pulls us together away from all these other spiritual houses to a commonality of purpose and direction. And he's given it to us so that we can do it, not segregating us based on any differences, only telling us our African story. Reading material, colleges, institute, what needs to be in the minds of our children? The information in the books that Baba Baruti has written, Homosexuality and Feminization of African Males, Kabuka, about the Atlantic slave trade, Complementarity, about relationships between black men and women. There's no better place to understand what we're supposed to be doing and what we're supposed to be thinking as African people than Baba Baruti. What do we need the African nations and the Caribbean to do? We need our brothers and sisters in the Caribbean and the African nations that have control over your media. You need to block out 2 hours every day. And you need to run that One Horizon catalog, genocide, they come to kill us, entertainment, Pizzagate, the new slave. You need to run them so religiously that your people finally wake up and realize what we're facing, and now we'll have a commonality of purpose. We'll all see the same threat. We'll be able to organize ourselves to go forward. And we have many different titles, all of them specifically designed for some area of warfare that our people are faced with, so that we can save our people from disaster in the 21st century. Yes, it's a self-endorsement because my life has been dedicated to this. So I have a right to self-endorse. If somebody comes up with something better, I'll endorse that too. Also, we're going to update our One Horizon book because this information has got to be in there. And in the 2005 version, it just wasn't. So we're going to put this information in there for our children. We need other people to get involved as well, but Sister Angela Freeman, listen, this war is not coming for us. It's coming for our children. So they have to be inoculated with the courage of their victories and the fact that they know they're going to be successful and remove fear from them. How do we do it? We tell them their victories in a way that children can appreciate, and that's what she does. Insurrection, Bibi Fahodier, Bomani Stan, even Confesse's private parts, so our children can learn about sexual abuse and can help us help them avoid it from happening by being aware. We also put Black Panther up there because it's a very good video. I'm saying this, and I'm almost wrapping up. Y'all all right? I'm rushing. We gotta do this. Absolutely, in terms of black leadership, we gotta drain the swamp.
Yes, Lord.
Listen. Absolutely. What I'm saying is, this is gonna sound extremely egotistical. Outside of the group of people that I work with and the ones we're affiliated with, I'll be honest. And I'm not talking about on the ground. Please understand, I'm not talking about the people in the communities doing, lots of people doing great work. I'm talking about in terms of leadership, stepping forward, getting in the way of the decimation of our race. It's a swamp of reptiles.
Yes, it is.
They don't have character. They don't have courage. They're liars. They're homophiles. They're a bunch of suckers. And we need to completely, all of them, walk away from them.
That's right.
Start organizing our communities and working with each other. Let's start growing our own food. And we ain't gonna ask the preacher to do that. Let's just come together, start growing food with each other. Let's come together, let's start organizing with each other. Let's come together, start educating our children. Forget about these so-called leaders, all of the ones that are out there now in the swamp. And when we decide to appoint new leaders, this is not gonna mean that you're gonna get picked. But before a leader is allowed to be considered a leader by black people, the first thing they gotta do is come out and say, what is your position on homophilia?
Yes, absolutely.
And if they don't give us the right answer, we shouldn't even consider them for nothing. If they can't get it right, that a black man is supposed to be with a black woman, they should have no support from no black person nowhere, period. And ain't none of them got it right. None of them. We also need this badly. I hate to use him, but I don't know who else to use. The whites get their information. They've stopped listening to mainstream media. They listen to Alex Jones and Reddit and a lot of these other sources. We need something that serves our interests as black people. Independent, where anywhere internationally you can turn on the internet and learn what's going on in the black world community. Imagine if everybody in the world that's black was tuning into something on the internet other than Facebook that they knew to come to watch what's happening now. The African nations would go up in smoke right now. They knew that this was coming, they would do something about it. We need an African nation to sponsor a genocide bill. Ban vaccinations from non-African sources. We got to start establishing black law. We got to take it into our power. With the few leaders we have to have courage today, and they have to try to begin the process of securing the future for African people. Ban Monsanto and all harmful genetically modified organisms. Ban interracial adoption, marriage, and sex. If we want to survive on this planet, we got to start putting our own rules. We don't care what nobody else's rules are. We create the rules that we're going to live by and then enforce them. Ban non-governmental organizations, NGOs. They're destroying the social fabric of Africa. Capital punishment for homophiles. On the African continent, where they have the power to set rules, stop people from molesting children by stopping. This is what we need to do. And when I'm saying this to anybody that's listening from the African world community that has means and resources, not just somebody that agrees with it. You got to have some means and resources, meaning you're in some position of power with some economic capacity. I am connected here with people that can help you do things you need to do in Africa, like infrastructure development. If you're serious, contact us, liberation@waronthehorizon.com. Ain't nothing free about freedom. But we have people here who have the greatest skills in the world, but are drowning under the racism of America and would love to help develop Africa in a fair trade. Am I telling the truth? We got people that want to teach the way they want to teach, but can't do it here, would love to come and really, really teach. Clean energy, clean water. I am connected so that I can help the African continent fix these problems. Again, got to be serious. 3, strategic support against imperial conquest. The entire world is looking at feasting on the African continent now. The Chinese, the Europeans, the Brazilians, all these, and I'm not talking the black Brazilians, the whole world. Africa can avoid this because there's enough people and enough power and enough brothers and sisters connected around the world that if we bind together, we actually are surrounding everybody. But we need to be able to think through this process. We can help them with that. And lastly, proper repatriation process development. There are millions of Africans in this country who are either retired, older, or just sick of being in this filth and waste, but they have skills. They would love to help come to an African country that would welcome them and help develop. But there's millions of snakes here too. So what the African continent needs to do, connect with us so we can create a process where we have a process so that we're not sending you the garbage from America to make more garbage in Africa. We send you the best of the best to help make Africa the best of the best. We can do this together. And last but not least, a few things we're going to do locally. We got a sheet up here for anybody that's in the Washington, D.C. metropolitan area. We got to get serious about self-defense.
Yes,
the Second Amendment is a good amendment. Only one I like better is the first one. And the only way we can protect the first one is with the second. So we're going to start a War on the Horizon Gun Club, learn how to clean weapons, how to secure them safely, all of that stuff. You can sign up at the table with my sister right there at the table. If you're interested, put your name, number, and email. We will contact you. Also, I'm not putting it here. We're also doing some growing food stuff. It's just going a little slower than it was supposed to be going. But we're going to be helping people grow their own gardens in this region as well. And we're going to be spreading that throughout all of our chapters. And the last thing I'll say, and I'm done, because I see y'all getting tired. Y'all tired, ain't y'all? Some of y'all look tired. Last thing I'm going to say is, brothers and sisters, we created a platform where we can put aside our differences. We don't care your complexion. We don't care your religious background. We don't care your political affiliation or none of that stuff. Are you straight? You believe a consenting man supposed to be with a consenting woman? Is your mama black and your father black? Yes. Do you have pride in our people when you spend your money with your brothers and sisters so that we can develop ourselves and do well for our own people? Well, if the answers are yes, then I think you should join the Straight Black Pride movement. As a matter of fact, we have sheets in the back that you can sign your name on, and we're having the Straight Black Pride movement meeting tomorrow at Sankofa. What time, brother? 4 o'clock. 4 o'clock. Everybody familiar with Sankofa Books and Videos on 7th Street, Georgia Avenue, right across the street from Howard University. You can't miss it if you go up there, right across the street. It's called Sankofa Books. It's at 4 o'clock. Come on out, brothers and sisters. What we're doing is we're unifying, doing practical things in the effort to save African people for the 21st century. Keep the lights on me, brother. So with that said, brothers and sisters, also want to acknowledge the leader of the Straight Black Pride Movement chapter in Atlanta. Would y'all stand up? Can we give him a round of applause? We also have the leader of the New York chapter of the Straight Black Pride Movement, Brother Tag. Can you stand up? Don't be shy. That's that Brooklyn bad boy. He ain't shy. And of course, last but never least, my brother comrade here in the back, leader of the Washington, D.C. chapter of the Straight Black Pride Movement. Let's bind together, brothers and sisters. Let's save our race. Was it worth your time coming here today? Are we going to save this race of ours? Are we going to be afraid to look homophiles in the face and say that we're real men? We're real Africans. We're not afraid. And we hate demons. I'm sorry, I'm on something different right now. I gotta be irritated. Genie. I'm just saying, this is me. I don't like evil. I mean, I done done evil stuff, but people want to rape children. That's a problem. I just want to argue, because I want to show them how I feel, because they want our children. Am I the only man that feels that way? Am I the only African who hates what I see when I walk out the door and see our children? Boys humping on each other. Sisters trying to dress like boys, knowing that people are torturing them in their homes. I'm the only one that wants to go into their home and stop it from happening. Am I just one voice in the wind? I want to hurt somebody. I'm telling you, just help me. If you ain't one to hurt nobody, you just help us get it ready. You ain't got to come. Some of y'all quiet, I know why, because you want to ride. Look, I'm telling you, anybody who know me, they'll tell you, ride with me. We can hurt some people, we can save our race, we can make our women proud again, our sons can respect us because we've been again, and we can go forward into the indefinite future. Thank you, brothers and sisters. On the horizon. You gotta look. All right, so if you could support some of the vendors on your way out, and if you want to come up and say a few words on our way out, we got to kind of get out as fast as we can, but support the vendors, we shake hands. You can also sign up the Warner Horizon Gun Club. Also, if you want to come out to the events bar, please sign your name there.